What is up, everybody? Hi! Hello, hello. Good day, good day, good day. Look at all the goodies we have today. So, I have a little spin for you guys today. Today is another acrylic practice, but this time we're going to do application nail therapy. So, we have these in front of us because we did part 1 and part 2. Don't ask, something happened, technical difficulties, any hoozle. If you want to come out, hang out with me, come hang out with me. Let's do some nails together. It's Friday night, y'all, so let's just freaking do it, okay? So, hey, Nelly. Hello, Christina. Hello, Cola. Hello, Icy. Hello, everybody. Hello. All right, so we're going to do something a little different. Now, I got some new acrylic in, so we need to test it. However, I found this. This is just like these. So I was like, why don't we make another one? Have an orange one. So I got this guy out so we can make an orange one. However, in the history of the channel, I have never done 10 nails at one time. If y'all are here for it, let me know. Now, so because I have this one, we can either add to this one, or we can do a separate set with all of these colors, just like these, and add some of the other ones in there. Y'all have to let me know, but I found these little lippies. Look at those lips. But I thought it would be cool. I have these little 4-pointed stars, and they match perfectly, don't they? Those are my favorite type of stars. So I grabbed those. So I'm going to set you up here, and then we're going to go from there, okay? Okay. How is everybody? Alright, y'all. Zoom you in a bit. Alright. Now, so, this is what we're working with. This is what we did in part 1 and part 2. This one's totally different because I just added some colors into it. We're supposed to clear cap these today because that is what we're doing, okay? We're doing acrylic and we are practicing together. We're doing this together. So if you want to do it with me, go ahead. That would be great. However, we made these yesterday and I have this orange one, and you know what? We're going to make another one. So we got it. However, I put these on here because I thought the orange one may look goofy if we do that, right? Because this one's already like green or blue, pink, and purple. So if we used all the colors, we could do it on a different set and I'd have all 10 nails. I don't know. What are you guys thinking? Hi, Nelly. So what are y'all thinking? Because that's what I'm thinking. That would be cool because I've never done it on my channel before. Never in the history of my channel have I done 10 nails. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. What up, everybody? My name's Sugar. If you're new, jump into chat. Let's do this. Come hang out with me. Acrylic application. We're going to make another custom glitter from yesterday's part 1 and part 2. And, we're going to do some rainbow nails. Some like vibrant nails. Because I just need vibrant nails in my life. So, we're going to test some new clear as well. And I also pulled out these guys. Because we used these yesterday. So I pulled out the other colors because I found this orange. So we're going to make an orange one. So y'all are going to have to let me know if that's what you want to do. We'll wait for more people to come in. Come chat. Come say hi. Let's freaking do this, shall we? More people come in. I'll talk about it again. Make sure you like and subscribe. Alright, I'm going to move these out of the way real quick. So these are the ones we made yesterday, which are right here on these nails. Okay? We were just practicing and making a set. So, yeah, so let's try this out, right? We're going to, girl, I don't even have enough. I have enough to do these. I might have to get these colors and ask where, you know, she got them from. All right, so this is a new acrylic. So we're going to do 2.5 scoops. And hopefully this one's better than the last one. Okay. I'm excited! Hopefully everybody else is excited too. Alright, so we're going to take this orange right here that we got. And honestly, you don't need a lot, guys. Okay, you're going to see. I'm going to just float this on here like so. Do that first. Shake it up and then go from there. And that's how you kind of gauge without having way too much glitter in there. And we're going to shake. Hi, is it Samara? Hi! Hello, hello! Happy Friday! So, I'm thinking we can add a little bit more. Let's add just a tibby bit more, shall we? Shall we? Okay. Should be good. It should give us the color that we want. Should give us the color that we want. Hello, Lexi. Hello, everybody. Alright, so this is what I'm going to ask everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hi, Serena. So, yesterday we did part 1 and part 2, which were these nails here. We have to clear cap these, which we will, because we were doing application. Alright, so this is like nail therapy, nail talk. We're going to talk nails and everything else. However, because I have this orange one now, should we do this one, use all the colors on this one, and add the orange into it? So that way we can kind of have... I've never in the history of my channel have I did all 10 nails before. So you guys will have to let me know. What do you think? Hello, Kinley. Hello, Loki. Emma. Hello, Emma. Alright. So, you guys will have to let me know if that's what we want to do tonight. If you guys are down for that, it's Friday night, so... Hi, Steph. How are you? You're no problem. No problemo. Alright. Come hang with your girls. So, I have this. These are my jars. All of these colors I've made myself, guys. Okay, so please know that they are my colors. I'm going to actually fill this guy up. And, add some of this clear into this so I know what this is. And then that way I can use it to clear cap and we can see if it's any good. See how clear it is and all that good stuff. Alrighty. There we go. Now. Put that on. Ta-da! Alright, we'll set that guy up there. We should? Alright, if you're down for it, if you're actually going to stay. Even if you wouldn't stay, I was still going to do it. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. All the good things. Alright. I am using, this is a size 14 brush from Pana. So you can get this off Amazon, guys. I'm going to pour this out. So first, what I'm going to do is, now that we have this color out, we're going to leave these here. And we'll just clear cap them all together. So let's go ahead and do this set first. We'll do this set and then we'll go from there. I do got stars and lips because I was going to do like it was like supposed to be Valentine's Day inspired. But I didn't really want to, I don't know. I got into the colors and I was like, ooh, blue, pink, and whatchamacallit. Alright. We're going to clean the brush. Alright, I'm going to move my brush over here. We're going to get our colors out. Now, so since we're using these, you ordered the white one. Oh, you did? Okay, you'll have to let me know how you like it. Alright, here's the orange. Here's the purple. Here's the pink. And here's the blue. So these are the colors we're working with, which I'm really excited because usually you wouldn't work with just these 4 colors. So I'm excited for that. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to bring in the orange from here. We're going to bring these colors in. And that way we can have kind of like this one here where we did this. So it's going to be kind of like a milky type glittery situation. So this will be this set. So I think what I'm going to do is do kind of the roughly the same thing on these ones, but we're going to have 2 marbles, and then these ones are going to be the blue, the pink, and the orange glitters, just so we can see a little bit more of them maybe. I don't know, we'll see, but we got to do 2 marbles. So with the marbles, we're going to bring in these colors here. So I'll set these over here once we get to those. All right, now let's set these guys up here. All right. So, which one do we want to start with? We want to start with the orange first. Hi, Jax. Hello. What up, everybody? Thanks for hanging with Sugar. You do? That's awesome. Well, we are doing acrylic. I am not a nail tech, everybody. I'm just a nail enthusiast that taught myself how to do all this. Okay? All right, so you want to start with the orange? Hi, Taylor. All right, we'll start with the orange. We'll do the orange on the big nail. I'll set that guy up there. Whoop. Hello. All right, so for this one, we're just going to do a whole nail of this beautiful orange. Oh my gosh, I'm about to have 10 nails. Ah, I've never done 10 nails at one time. Like, not on a live, though. This is crazy. All right, we have a bigger nail, and we also have a bigger brush. So, and I've not used this clear before, so we're just going to go with it, guys. Ooh, that is really pretty. It's very light. Okay. Look, it ain't going nowhere. Oh, Nelly. Oh, I lied. Now, for the most part, we really, really, really want to make sure we get it from side to side. Clean it. And then we're going to pull it down. And we're just going to flatten that out just a little bit here. And then I'm going to take this guy and we're going to lightly brush it up. Just because when you have such big nails like this that have a nice apex right there, which apex is typically going to be down here when you have longer nails. So you also have to keep that in mind. It's not sticking in my brush, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to tap on my thing twice. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Alright, we're going to start right where that one ended. Nice. We're going to pat it to the side. Ooh, this is... I like this, though. This is... It's almost like an iridescent look. Alright, we got to blend that bead in. Right? And then we're going to make sure we pat that excess to the center. And then we're going to pull. And the reason why I pull this down is to flatten it out. So we don't have a bunch of humps and lumps and bumps. Ooh, I'm excited though. Nice. I think we're going to have a pretty, it's going to look pretty cool. This would be a good background. I am using this as a background, so that's why you don't see me use a lot of thick product. Hi, Marion. Hi, Christina. Okay, we're going to let it set up a little bit. Clean our brush off. I'm going to pat, pat, pat. It does like to spread a lot faster, I guess, once it starts going. So that's a little bit different than what I'm used to, but we're going to pull it up. And if you don't know, I'm a swiper, okay? So, everybody voted on me to do a new set since we are using this orange color. And then we'll do this. It'll be fairly quick. We're not going to take forever on it. We're going to thin that out. Now you just use these for your background colors, guys. You don't use these to build the nail. Use your clear to build the nail. Unless you're using like a cover color, then it's going to be a little bit different. I like that. Hi, Dragonflower. Hello. It's not a bad clear. Like, as you can see, watch. I'll clean my brush. I'll put that monomer back into that brush. And then it kind of just goes from there. You see that? So you kind of have to be a little fast with it because it's not really that cold in my room. See that? So that I'm not really liking, but you can definitely work with it. You just have to work a little bit faster. And then keep it down, but I don't keep it down. I'm not the type of person that keeps it like down because I gotta see what I'm doing, so alright, same thing. And I am not like a one bead person, and I just want you guys to know you do not have to do all of it in one bead. Don't get discouraged if you see people doing that either and you can't do it. That's okay. Like, don't worry about it. Because it's really not that big of a deal. It's not a flex either. So just keep that in mind. It's a little... How do I want to put that? It's a little different, I will say, than what I'm used to in terms of acrylic wise, like all the clear that we used to have. You know what I mean? Okay, we're gonna keep that. Once it's like that, it's fine, but then once that hits, you gotta be kind of fast with it because it likes to spread really quickly. But it is a lot more powdery than almost like a dip powder. Does that make sense? And I think that's why it's doing that, to be honest. Which is not something I care for, but it still works, as you can tell. Okay, I'm going to pull this down. And you can pull this down lightly or a lot and just take it down the nail like so if you want. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure there's not a bunch of lumps and bumps in it. Make sure your sides are kept in really nicely. And then just follow the nail. But when you have a big nail like this, a lot will come to the sides. So, thanks for coming to hang with me. How's everybody's day going? How's it been going so far? Is it going great? Is it not going? What you doing tonight besides hanging out with your girl? I feel like this is a lot better. I'm going to take some of these and move them. I think that this powder is a little bit better to use with a smaller brush, especially in the winter time. I feel like this one's going to be a powder that's going to be good for the summer, but not technically for the winter, if that makes sense. That's just how I feel. There we go. I like that color, though. It's really pretty. I am sticking to my brush here. Okay, we're going to get the top on, and then we're going to go to the next. What color do we want to use next, guys? We want to go down the line and do... We want to do pink. What do we want to do? Going to push this up. We're going to pull that down just to kind of... bring that color all the way to the end. And then I'm going to bring it up. Alright. Nice. Now, if you're doing press-ons, you always want to make sure you're keeping this really nice and tight. Meaning flat. Right here. So when you go to a clear cap, you don't have like a huge gaping lump. That was an ugly bead, but I'm just going to do this right here and just kind of get this up here. We're going to melt that bead into that bead. There we go. Nice. Ooh. Look at that, guys. Now, you will get uneven beads if you don't shake your powder back even. So, you want to keep that in mind as well. And if you're new here, my name is Sugar. It's nice to meet you guys. Okay, I'm going to lightly pull this down to the bottom. Nice. Alright, there's our orange one, guys. Oh, hi, Bramble. How are you? Alright, there's our orange one. What color are we going for next, y'all? Okay, so this one's going to be the marble. Okay, so the marble's going to be... What, do we want to do 2 colors, or we want to do all the colors? Let's just do all the colors. I feel like we'll be okay. So we got the orange, and then we have the marble. We have this one. So this one we'll do an ombre of all 4 colors, and then we have the marble here, and then this one can be like pink or blue or something. What is going on? Try soaking in acetone. Oh. Hello, everybody. Stranger Things lover, hello. Shuri. Oh, I'm gonna say your name wrong. I apologize. Sarah, hi. Purple. Okay, we'll do purple. Hi, Cola. Hello. Hi, Bramble. Hi, Ella. Alright, so now this one's going to be the marble, so we're going to end up doing all of the colors. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this guy out the way. So we have our colors. So I'm going to shake these up really, really good. We are doing the other 5 nails, everybody. Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Hi, Kenna. Do you know Stray Kids? No, I don't. Alright, so here's our purple. Here's our orange. Our pink. And our blue. Alright, so now we have these colors and these colors. So, ta-da! Can you see them all? Alright, I'm going to put them up here. Alright, so with this, how we're going to do this, if you're new here, Fabio, hello. If you're new here, hello. Alright, so I'm going to take and I'm going to clean my brush and turn my paper towel over this way. Okay, because I don't want to get any more of that on my nail. Destiny, hello. Hello, everybody. Hi, Paisley. I know, right? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to wet this. What this does is make it, the monomer melts the plastic a little bit, makes it sticky. So that way we don't have to buff and file and all that stuff. Alright, so let's start out with the bright orange. So I'm going to set this here. We're going to go pink. And let's do some blue. Okay, I'm going to pat that up. Okay, so this is very, very, very... That is really pretty, though. Alright. We're going to flatten these sides. And I'm going to pull this up. Just a little bit. I'm going to push that in. And you can either pull it down. Just the hair. Look at that color. Oh! Now that's a freaking marble, everybody. Okay. So all I'm doing is making sure it's nice. And just kind of tapered in a little bit here. Ooh. That is freaking, oh, that is awesome. All right. This set's going to be bomb. All right, I'm going to take this and I'm going to set some of this here. We're going to take this blue. And I'm just going to take it and just kind of pull it over and down. Give us a little, we're going to pat that in there. So we get a little bit of a two-tone color look in the center. And I'm going to pat that into the other one. All right, let's take a bit of this orange. I'm going to take this pink. And we're just going to lightly float this. We're going to come down. And I'm going to make just little, we're just going to make it go like this. And I'm going to pull it up into that bead that's already there. Now I'm going to push this back to the center. And I'm going to pull up just a hair. That way it's still there, but it's a little like milky. It's going to look crazy. Okay, I'm going to dab that in. And I'm just going to let it go where it goes. And if there's any open holes, we can just fill that in. So, let's dab that down and up. And then I'm going to pull this up. So it looks like it's part of it and kind of flowing together here. We'll pull that up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take some of this orange. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because, oh, yeah. Sorry, guys, I'm not looking at the chat at the moment. Okay, so we're going to blend that. Okay, you see how it's like bumpy? You'll have that, but you want to try to flatten it as much as possible without stretching the color too much. Okay, so you just kind of have to eyeball it, guys. Okay. As long as you keep your sides in, you're good. So let's take a little bit more of this blue. I'm gonna take this pink. Purple. Oh shit. And then you can either leave it like that, or you can go through it and just kind of have like a little bit of a crazy marble. Yeah, I'm definitely having to chase the colors because of how that clear is. That clear is not my favorite. Not my favorite, okay? But it's okay. I can deal with it. Not a big deal. But I'm mad I spent money on it. Okay, so this is going to be our bottom half here. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take that excess. And I'm going to set this color right here. Anything that you take off, you can essentially put it back on the nail in certain places. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Alright, let's take some purple since we haven't done the purple yet. We'll drop this guy right there. Okay, so all I'm doing is filling that little space in with that glitter. And I'm going to pull him up so he melts into that bead. Now, I'm going to take a little bit more of that purple. And we're going to come in from this side. And we're just going to let it go how it goes. Yeah. Oh, that looks so cool. I'm just going to bring this, and we're going to bring this right up into that purple. And then we're going to bring it down like it's fading through that blue. Yeah. Oh, this is so cool. Alright, we need a little bit more. So I'm going to put this purple right here. We're going to do another one. I'm going to take this blue. Then take this pink and put it on top. Now you don't want to go through it too much, guys. Okay, we want to keep that nice. I'm going to take that excess off though. Yeah. Now, I'm going to lightly fan this down like it's supposed to be there. So there's no harsh lines. Because I have a thing about harsh lines, don't I, everybody? Dude, you guys can do this with me. Look at that. Wow. Alright, I'm going to take some... I think I'm going to do this pink. I'm going to put a little bit up here. Stick that heart there. And we'll fill this part in with pink glitter. I'm going to stick that guy right there. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to melt that down over that. Like I said, we don't want a bunch of bumps and lumps everywhere. We want it to be nice and steady, but still go into itself, right? Oh yeah, look at that, dude. What do y'all think? I think that's really cool. I feel like I need a little bit more orange. Right here. So we're going to take this orange and we're going to just kind of go through the center. So we have a little bit of like a milky tone in between those glitters. Because that's kind of what it does. Okay? So we'll bring it down a little bit. And we'll just kind of mess with it. Just to give it like not so much of a harsh line. Yeah. Now, I'm going to take a little bit more of this and fill in this corner here, or this little middle part. These are going to be the coolest nails I've made yet, I think. You don't have to take a bunch of time on this either, guys. Okay? Don't be like me and be like, it's got to be perfect, because it really doesn't. Just keep your sides in, you'll be good. That's what she looks like, guys. That's crazy looking. I love it. Hi, Janie. Hi, Tiffany. That's what they look like so far. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Hey, Queen. Hi. All right. Next color we're going to do. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do an actual ombre of all the colors. So what you want to do when you're using glitters. So this one's going to be a full glitter nail. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do the colors again we'll do another marble. Okay. So let's get our brush wet. Nice. Okay, so we're going to go in order. So I'm going to start with pink. We're going to go to orange. Then we're going to go to blue. Then we're going to go to purple at the end, okay? So what I'm going to do is tap my brush twice. Come into my powder. We're going to start this here. I don't know why. This powder's working funny for some reason. Definitely not working like it was yesterday. Alright, always pat it to the side. Take your excess, pull it up. And I'm going to pull this down. Now, like I said, I'm using this as a background, so we don't want to create the nail with the glitter because that's not going to give our long nail any structure. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit more. And then push our side in. There we go. Alright. Let's keep going. Nice. Okay, push it to the side. How many of you guys do nails? We're going to blend that bead up into the bead that we just laid. And what you want to do when you're doing that, you want to make sure it's literally melted into that bead, okay? So we're going to pull this down. And you want to make sure your brush isn't too wet. Because like I just did there, if your brush is too wet, you'll literally take it off the nail. So I'm going to move some of these hearts here. Okay, we're going to do one more. Same thing. Now we have 4 colors, so you have to make sure you kind of gauge how big your nail is. So if you're using a small nail, you're going to have a little bit of less room to deal with your colors than typical. Does that make sense? Nice. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do this top real quick. Now, typically, you don't want a lot at the top here, but I knew I was going to end up taking some of this off. But we're going to pat her in. And we're going to make sure it floods down into that next bead. Clean that off. Now, I'm going to wet my brush. And I'm going to pull any of that excess up the nail. And my brush was so wet, I took it off the nail. So don't do that. Ooh, yeah. Dude, once we put these on, oh my gosh. Are you guys here to stay? Let's freaking do this. If you have any questions, my ladies in the chat will definitely be able to help you guys out. Let's make sure we blend those. Get that excess and blend the sides. And pat this in. Nice. Nice. Alright. Keep your sides in, guys, because you'll get little... You want it to keep it nice and straight and flush, so when you go to put your clear on, you're not going to have to, like, have so much to file. Does that make sense? Okay. We're going to go ahead and pull that up. Blend that in. Clean our brush. Dip it in. And you want that color to the center, okay? Now I'm going to pull this down just a tibby bit. Yeah. It's almost like a unicorn set. What up, everybody? Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to move to the blue. Now, technically, you should do this color first, because orange and blue technically don't really marble or melt well together, and you don't want to make brown. But this is a glitter, so you're really not going to make brown with glitter. So keep that in mind if you're using colors. Nice. And then you always want to keep your brush wet. Okay, let's pull this excess down. Yeah. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sugar Mama. I like your name. Hi, Night Owl. Monica, hello. MZ Aquarius, hello. Yay! It's so good to see everybody. All right, next up, blue. Yeah, I definitely am not liking the clear, but you can still work with it, so. All right, we're gonna ombre those together. Now, when you have a blue, that's where you're really going to see your colors kind of ombre really nicely when you're using glitter. Nice. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more blue, and then last is purple. Clean our brush. Dude, and then once we clear cap these, oh, I'm so excited to put the top coat, like, on these too. So, they decided for me, since we already did the other nails yesterday, which we're going to be doing the clear capping as well, guys, so stay tuned for that. Because you guys can practice with me too if you have, you know, if you want to. Or you can just hang out with me. Alright, so because of these colors that we have, I've never done 10 nails at once on my channel. So we're doing it. So I'm going to actually take a little bit more of this and we're going to set it right up here. And I'm just going to marble that up a little bit more. Should give us more of that color tone that we want. Nice. Alright. Okay. We don't want any bulges. There we go. Ooh, let's do this. Alright, I'm going to take my purple. I definitely could have put a little bit more purple glitter in this one, to be honest with you. But I didn't. Alright, let's fade this guy up. Melt him in. Ooh, dude, I think, too, it's gonna be like a glittery unicorn set, even though it's really not what I was going for. We're gonna move this guy. And then I'm gonna pull him down. Okay, because it is clear. It's just purple glitter, basically, that's in it. Alright, so since this is going to be the purple side of it, it's kind of a lighter purple, but now I'm going to go ahead and melt that up to that bead we just laid. Haha! Okay, we're going to push those in, flatten those out. Okay, shoot. So I went a little heavy on the pink up here, but what are you going to do? I do that every time, guys. So I'm going to take this orange and we're going to kind of overlap the pink a little bit more. I'm going to pull that down. And we're going to pull that up. Each one has different types of glitter in it. Okay. So I'm actually going to take a little bit more of this blue. And then we're going to blend that up. Okay, well that's about as good as we're going to get. But that is it. We have a nice line, straight line here. The clear is going to be our... and I like to make sure I flatten it, guys. If there's anything sticking up, I don't like big bumpies everywhere. That's just me. You don't have to do that if you don't want, but... I feel like it needs more blue, but it could just be me. Yeah, I'll have to figure out where in the world Katie got these glitters. There we go. Got a little bit more blue on there. Nice. Alright, there's that one. It's going to be a crazy set. Hi, Kenzie. Acrylic base, I was wondering if for the full I could start using polygel over it, like without getting rid of the acrylic. Yeah, you can do it. You just have to make sure the acrylic is fully dried. This is what it's looking like so far. This is like going to be a cool set. It's going to be such a cool set. Oh my gosh. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to try to get a little bit more color in these. So I'm going to use my number 12 for this as I go down. This is a smaller nail, so I'm going to just use my 12 for this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It doesn't take you that long, guys. As long as you just keep going with it and you don't stop and you don't pick like me, because I will over pick and just prod and just whatever, so just keep that in mind. Alright, let's do this. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to start with purple. Blue. We're going to do pink. We're going to take this orange. Yay! Typically, you guys know this stuff usually doesn't run on me, so this acrylic is not the best, especially in the wintertime. So I'd have to hold it like this just to keep it going. But look at that marble. the best part about doing these nails. Alright, I'm gonna slowly bring this down. Tell me that marble ain't the Now this one, I don't think, I'm just gonna use the colors. Okay, I'm just gonna use the colors and do what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna keep pushing that. We're gonna flatten that. That way we have one of just straight color. Tell me that don't look awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna pull this up a little bit though. Most people wouldn't keep messing with it. Most people would just be like, whatever, but I don't like to do that. I like to keep my sides in, keep it pushing, but not really go through the colors as much, right? Look at that. Tell me that I don't look like a swirled, beautiful amount of yes. Hi, Glam! No worries. Thank you for coming. Hi, Nats. How are you? Don't hesitate to ask, guys. Alright, so, okay, I have to put some glitter in there. So, I'm actually going to take some of this. And we'll just add this here. And you want to do it a little bit on the wet side, but not too much on the wet side. So, I'm actually going to blend this up over this color. So, it looks like it's part of it. Okay. Just so we got some nice, a little bit of glitter in there. Alright, this time I'm going to start with my pink. We're going to go blue. Whoa, yeah. Okay, I'm going to bring this blue up. Stick my brush right through that color, and then we're going to fade it. Fade it up. Fade it up. Bring this up. Fade that pink up. Bring this back over this way. Cut through that so it comes down the side. Oh, yeah, dude. Okay, I'm going to pull it down just a little bit so we can get a nice freaking swirl. Tell me that ain't cool. Woo! Alright, let's do a little bit. So each one I think I'm going to do like the colors of glitter, and then we'll go color by color. So I'll take this guy and we'll do a nice little swirl. Bring this around. Bring that excess off. I don't know what is up with... They worked fine yesterday, but... Okay, I'm gonna feed that up this way. Bring that down. And then we'll add our colors into it after, okay? So we'll have a little bit of a milky type look. Oh yeah, so let's take this guy, let's build this up a little bit more here so it's all kind of together. Okay, we're going to fade it down. We're going to make sure it's even. And the reason why I say that is so it at least is all kind of together and you don't have too many of those like crazy humps and bumps everywhere. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. Alright, now we're going to take the, what do we do? Pink and blue. We're going to take, we'll do purple first. Typically you don't want to do purple and orange, but I don't think these, I think these will be fine. Now this one I'm really going to try to punch that color in there. Oh, yeah. Okay. You can either bring it down the nail. I'm gonna hold it like that. This time, I'm gonna pull this up. So it looks like it's gonna just fade right into that blue. Pull it up. Want that nice little marble line up there, but not too much, so don't take your brush through it too much, guys. We want to be able to see that nice transition on that marble. Oh my god, look at that. Yep. Okay, I gotta bring this up a little bit. Yeah. Take any excess out. Oh my god, that looks so cool. Okay, so I'm gonna pat that together, guys. I don't want it to be super freaking bumpy. So I'm just gonna pull this in a little bit. Oh my god. Okay, one thing I gotta do is cut this a little bit. Alright, there we go. Holy shnikes. Would you guys wear this set? Gonna activate that a little bit. We're gonna pull this up just a hair. Bring this in. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Alright, let's bring in the orange glitter on this one. And then we'll add a little bit of color down here at the bottom. So I'm going to kind of take my brush. And I want that flower there. Now, you guys don't have to take as long as me. I just like to perfect what I'm doing. Okay, so I put a lot here so it would fill in this area here. Okay, so we didn't have a lot of, like, big freaking open spaces, right? And it's all kind of just going to be together. Oh, yeah. Nice. And I think what I'm going to do is add me a little bit of blue down here. And you can add the color on top like this. Oh my gosh. Into that color and it'll still look really, really cool. Okay, we're going to pull that up and lock that in. And it's going to look like it's kind of part of that color here. Haha. Oh, yeah. What did Nat say? Right now, Crystal's motivating. Yes, girl. Stacy! Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, look at this set. Alright, let's go up and do the top here. Let's get a little bit of this. Let's do a little bit of this blue over here. I told you I love acrylic so much. I'm just going to push that into there. Let's take this pink. I'm going to set this pink here. Just to give us a little bit of blue and pink sparkle. And then we'll add the color at the top. Ha ha ha. Alright, let's add a little bit more blue. And then I'm going to take a little bit of pink. So what you're going to do is you're just going to dab it on there. We'll dab some purple here. And then I'll take some orange. And we'll dab it up here. And then we'll take these colors and kind of marble them a little bit. Okay, you don't want a big blob in the center. So just kind of move it around, move this up. Oh yeah, dude, look at that. Shoot. Ha ha ha. That looks wicked. Alright, let's float a little bit of this blue. And we're just going to bring this blue. See how it's coming down like this? So I'm going to take this blue. And we're just going to lightly flow this like this. So it looks like it's flowing like so. See it? Then we're just going to kind of flow it downwards. So it looks like it's part of that. Gives us a little bit more of that swirl, right? That looks really, really cool. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to take just a tibby bit of this. And you can either flow it somewhere else, which actually I think I might flow some of this. So you just lightly, like, kind of flow it on there. Then we're going to take some of this orange. And I'm just going to lightly give it some color. Yeah. Dude, that is wicked. Alright. I'm going to fill this in so we don't have such a gaping hole. So. Ha ha ha. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this blue. And I am just going to. Haha. Okay, now I'm going to take this purple. And I'm going to fill a little bit of this in. I feel like it's missing something, so. What do y'all think? I'm going to pat this in. And then pull that out. Not only did it fill in that middle bit, but kind of gave us a little bit of a different look. Now, I'm going to take that guy. He's still there. Alright, dude. We have like a huge gaping hole right there, but I'm going to cut right through the middle of that. This is where you can get really creative, guys. Alright, I can't believe y'all told me to do 10 nails. Ah! It looks really cool though, doesn't it? Nice. Alright, there's that one. That's what they're looking like so far. So, do we want to do... Which one do we want to do? This one. We want to do pink, purple, or blue? Since we already have this orange one. Thanks! I will have a drink for all my girls. Yes! Hi, Lilo! Lilo. Is it Lilo? Lilo? Have fun, love. No worries, babe. Have fun. Thanks for coming, everybody. What up? Look at that. So what color? You want me to do just... Because it's all going to be just one glitter on this one. Okay? So... You want purple or pink? Oh, we have a blue. Hi, Alice. Purple, 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 blue, orange. Uh-oh. Purple. Purple. Here's what the purple one will look like. This is what the purple looks like when it's all just one nail. This is what the pink one looks like. And the blue one. Purple. Blue and purple. Blue, blue, purple. Well, the first one is orange. That is orange, goof. This one is the orange one. This is all orange. This is that orange right there. So now we just need one more. So it's between purple or blue. Oh shit. Hold on, guys. Moving my paper towel here. Blue, blue. We need new orange. I want vibrant purple. Well, we're doing a glitter on this one. Since we have those, the next one's going to be glitter. Blue, blue. Hi, Harper. Do both if you want. I just want to do one glitter. Does the sun already? Or let's just do blue and purple. Well, because we have an ombre of all the colors. One nail, that's his glitter nail, and then we have the two marbles. Purple. We're just going to go purple. Screw it. And I forgot to... Okay, I waited too long on that one. Bye, love. Is it Arne? Hi, Liz. Thanks for coming, guys. I waited way too long. I really like the pink. Because this one's mostly clear with just a little bit of purple, but you'll be able to see it once I get it all on here. Dude, thanks for coming to hang with me, guys. Appreciate it so much. What are your guys' plans this weekend? Anything? I don't know what I'm going to do exactly this weekend. Okay, I'm going to take this and we're going to gently pat this up to the edge. One thing I will say when you're doing press-ons is you don't want glitters that are stuck together to be like right at the end of the nail. Okay, so we're going to flatten that out. And like for me, it's not really that cold in my room right now, but I was so excited to find that orange, and I was like, I wonder if they're going to want me to do a full complete set. Because this is my first time doing like literally a full complete set of nails. At one, like for one adventure that we did together. Which I think for me is really cool. Oh shit, I just took that right off the nail. You don't want to do that. You ever take something off the nail? Pat it back into place, guys. Ooh, that was a good bead right there. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. Melt that in. I like watching people do acrylic. How about you guys? I think that is like my favorite part. I just like, I don't know why. I like watching people do acrylic, especially when they're really doing a cool like set that's different and out there, but they got to do a bunch of different things. I think for me is my favorite. But yeah, melting that bead up into the bead that you just laid is the best ever. Oh, these are glow in the dark. Yep. These colors, the brighter colors, are glow in the dark. So we'll have half glow and half not. So the marble ones do glow, but yes, we can do a full glow set. I have a lot of glow sets on my channel, don't we, ladies? I always do a lot of neon, a lot of glow. I've done a lot. And I mean a lot. Glow is my thing. Okay. Neon, glow, rainbows, my thing. And I just I've always wanted my channel to be where, like, you didn't have to do nails, right? You didn't have to, like, just only love nails to want to be here to, because some people just like watching it, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what I want my channel to be, for the most part, you know? I want everybody to be able to watch my channel. Because I will say, and here, the reason why I am doing it sideways like this is because the nail's a little bit small. So it's easier if you do it sideways on the nail, and then you can just kind of take it and do what you got to do with it. But yeah, I really, really saw my sandal. Why? Brain. My brain. Why brain? I really saw my channel as being one of those where I could literally make anything and people just wanted to watch. You know what I mean? Like, that is my goal. My ultimate goal. And I can still create, and no matter what I create, people are going to like it. But there are always people out there that not necessarily going to like it, but they like the process. Does that make sense? Okay, we're going to pat those glitters down. Make sure they're in that acrylic. Really good. Nice. We're going to go 1, 2. This one should get us all the way to the end of the nail here. Okay, we're going to melt that bead back up. And then we're going to carry it down the nail. Yeah, the new clear that I got, I don't like. I'll have to use it, like, I'm afraid to clear cap with it, but we got to, because that's all I got, so. We're just going to have to deal with her, you know? Alright, I'm going to just lightly pull this down a little bit. I don't want to take it off the nail. Ha ha ha. Nice. Because you can see what you're taking off the nail, guys, right? You can always inevitably see what you're taking off the nail, so always keep that in mind too. And if it's too cold in your room, it won't dry all the way, so keep that in mind as well. So I wanted a little bit more glitter here at the bottom. And I'm going to take this guy, put him there. There we go. Now, like, for this clear that I'm using, since it's my first time using it, it is getting caught in my brush because I don't know if you guys remember yesterday. If you were here yesterday, you would have seen I didn't quite like this because it was like getting, no matter how much I cleaned my brush, guys, it's just one of them that just, look at my brush, it's full. Okay. Alrighty. Now, one thing I am going to do is we're going to take just a tibby bit and give us a little bit more glitter up here. So it's a little bit even. Oh shit. Alrighty dighty. Dude, this is so cool. Now, I'm not sure what I did up here, but I'll have to do something about that. But that's what she looks like. And then for the most part, as long as you keep it thin on here, once you get your clear on, you won't have to worry about shit. Okay, there she is. There's the set, y'all. These two are my favorite, though. Oh my gosh. So we have both sets, guys. The sets. Ooh. Alright. I'm gonna put the lids on. That's, like, really cool. I really, really, really like them. One's a blue... Oh, shit. I'm not really sure what happened in terms of the colors, but yeah, the clear, I'll have to see what it does while we clear cap. Because if you don't have clear, you can always also use a hard gel as well to go over them. You know what I mean? Thank you! Thank you for coming, guys. I really appreciate it so freaking much. You have no idea. No freaking idea. Alright. So, I'm going to take this clean side. This is why I don't like that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is all clear acrylic. Every bit of it. So I'm going to stick this guy here. So I'm not just rubbing it down at the bottom. That's the only problem. And I don't think I've ever had a clear acrylic do that to me. And I'm talking like, it's bad, guys. Make you a set of nails? Aww. Purple and green are your favorite. Are they? Purple, I would say purple and blue are my top faves, but hollow is like my ultimate, like, fave. Okay, so I have to do this, you guys. Give me 1 sec, because it is like... not as bad as I've seen. Worse than I've ever had. My shit doesn't get like that. So there we go, nice and clean. Same with this one. And you do it like this, guys, with your bristles, like this. Don't do it down at the bottom, because I have a bunch of clear down there, so we're doing it on the side for a reason. Now, if you use a bigger brush to clear cap, you will get a lot, you will go a lot faster down the nail, if that makes sense. Alright. Alrighty. Woo! Hi, Stitch Lover. Yes, hollow is my all-time over anything. Like, oh shit, what did I just do? No! I'm gonna show you how much is in here. Okay? Watch. Look at all that. That's all clear acrylic, guys. Look, you can see it. Nasty. Because like I'm telling you, clear acrylic is not created equal. Never. So you always want to make sure you're cleaning that out before you add new monomer, okay? Especially when you're doing, especially when you're clear capping. Does that make sense? Because if not, then It's going to get everywhere. It's going to get back in your brush, all on the nails. Hi, babe. What are you doing? But I do have to pee. Can I please pastel? Hello. Well, I appreciate you being here. So we are going to be doing, I will be doing pastel nails on, I do have a post up on my community tab if you guys want to take that. Make sure you guys order the pictures, have numbers, take the numbers and order them from favorite to least favorite, alright? Not right now, of course, but alright, so we got that. I think what I'm going to do to be safe is I'm going to use my actual clear that I got so we can make these look beautiful, and I will use that some other time. If I have enough. Let's see, do I have enough? No, I don't. Never mind, I gotta use it. Alright. So, I have a Glitter Bells clear. So I'm just going to use this Glitter Bells clear for this, and then I'll just have to get I have to get more clear before we can do any more. Are you guys, I'm so excited you guys are here. Hi Alicia, how are you? I don't even think that's going to be enough, but we'll make it. If not, and I have to use my other ones, no big deal. Okay, here's the set. Are you guys excited? Ah! I just am excited to do this. Look at that. A full set. We did a full set, y'all. Holy shnikes. I'm so excited you guys are here. Alright, so we have our clear. Let's grab this. One thing I gotta do is show you guys this really quick. Do we want to add stars? Look, I found these 4-pointed stars. What do you think? Do we want to add those for like a galaxy-esque look? Or no? Because these are thick. These are thick. Oh, look, I have butterflies too. What do we want to do? We want to add those for that galaxy unicorn vibe theme jigger. And then I found these little lips. Forgot I had them. Okay. Yes? Okay. Alright, so we'll do... I'm actually going to take these and set these on my paper towel because it'll be easier to. And I think what I'm going to do is only put them on these because it's marbled so it looks like a galaxy. So I'll put these all throughout the nail. Oh, they're going to look cool. And then I'm going to take and add a butterfly. Oh my god, we have moons! What? Y'all, I didn't even know I had them. Look. I have a moon. So let's do 3 moons. So each marble nail will have a moon and stars. Okay? Oh, this is going to be so cool. Ah, that's sticking to me. Get off me. This is the only thing I hate is they stick to me. Get in there. Got it. Okay. And you know, I got this for my Christmas. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so that's what we're going to put in there. Excited? I'm excited. Hi, Taro. By Rocks. Can you sneak a lip in there somewhere? I can. Yeah, because this will stand out. Do we want to do this or we want to do clear? Or like, what is that? What is this? Iridescent? So we'll put a lip. Okay, we got 3 lips. So we'll put a lip in each one and it's up to y'all to find them. There we go. Alright. So there we go. We got that. Okay, are you guys good? Can I pee? Am I allowed to pee? Am I losing everybody? Just one on the tip somewhere. Where are you going, babe? Huh? Oh. Oh my god! Hi, Amber! How are you, sweets? Okay, I have to pee really bad. I will be right back, guys. It won't take long, I promise. But my kidneys don't like it when I hold my pee, okay? TMI, I know, but I will turn this up, and you guys can listen to some music. And I'll be right back. Hi, Amber, love. They said hi. Okay, I'll be right back. Alrighty, Daddy, we're back. Okay. Hello, everybody. Woo! I'm so glad you're here. How are you doing? Alright, let's do this, everybody. Alright, let's get this in here. I am using Young Nails, by the way. We're gonna need a lot. We're gonna need a lot because it's 10 nails, everybody, and they're 5XL. Ah! Why I decided to do 5XL? Oh, yeah, that was because we were practicing. We're practicing, that's why. Okay. Alright. We're gonna try this big brush and see how we like it. Okay? This is the first set, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this guy. Let's put a little bit of clear on our brush and get it wet. Oh, that's gonna look bomb with the clear, the top coat. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit of this clear, just a tibby bit of this clear, and I'm gonna put it right here. So this is gonna lock it into place, everybody. And what you want to do if you have open spaces is take a little bit more clear and add it to it, and it'll lock it in and fill in those areas. So I'm just going to put this here, because these are too hard to... You really don't want it sticking up like that, to be honest. I'll just have to make sure I keep it as flat as I can. And then just make sure when you're adding that clear, guys, it's not like super bumpy and super weird when you're putting it on. I'm going to just slide this right up in here. And then melt it. I'm going to clean it off, though. Okay. Hopefully that'll Is that in the middle? If it's not, it's fine. Alright, let's put our little stars on, shall we? We're gonna do here. I'm gonna push it down. Oh yeah. And then you want to take that off that because you still want that to shine. If that clear is on there, it's going to make it look weird. Okay, we'll put one here. Oh yeah, dude. I'm going to wear these out. You guys know me. I will wear them out. And now I'm going to stick my little lippy down here. Ta-da! Alright, so I'm going to also stick one up here at the top. You don't want it sticking up too much, but we're going to stick one up here. And you want to keep it on a flat part. I'm going to put one right there, because I feel like it's missing. But you don't want it hanging off the edge either, okay? So keep that in mind too. Oh. Ha ha ha. Alright, we're gonna let that dry. Ooh, I'm so excited. Alright, next up. Am I gonna put the moon in the same spot? I don't know. I'm gonna activate this, so when we put it on, it's gonna be sticky. I'm just gonna stick it in the middle, I think. Now, it is getting cold in my room, so... Okay. So this one's going to be a bit different, but cool. Okay, let's keep that. Blend all that in. This is creativeness. This literally, I didn't even know this was going to become a thing. So thank you guys for being here. Looks like it's in the middle. Alright, we're going to leave her there. Take most of that off. Alright, now, let's put our little stars on. I'm going to go one here. Oh, shit. So when it's super cold in here, you guys, your stuff will have a hard time drying. So you want to always make sure you keep that in mind, especially when it's cold out. Have a heater or something going. Right now, I forgot to put my heater in there, but... Okay, I don't need this much for a tiny star. So, we're going to take this guy. And we're going to take this guy, we're going to put him down this little open area right here. And then, flatten this all out at least. So this is going to have a little bit less stars than the one I have on that one because we have so much going on. Dude, you guys are the shit. Okay, so we have this here, so I'm going to put one here. I like to go like, you know? I don't like them in a line. And I like them catty-cornered. I like everything catty-cornered. If you don't know, now you do. See how I have this over this? It's a little bit dull, but that's okay. No big deal. Okay, so we're going to take one and put one here. And then I'm going to put one right here. So we have two down here and two up there. I'll have the lippy right there, so that'll even it out. So make sure it's on a flatter part of the nail, okay? Alright, let's do our lip. What do y'all think? These are our space lips. Ta-da! There's just something about making something and it just coming from your brain at the time that you do it. Okay, there's that one. Thanks! Alright, one more. I think this one I'm only going to have stars on. Yeah. We have 2 moons, that's enough. Okay, so I'm going to take and add the lip in the center. And then I'm going to take one of these. Alright, hold up. I guess for the most part, like, you actually have to... Okay, clean that off. I thought it was gonna look cool like that, but we're just gonna go... And I'll add some there because there's not really a lot here. So I'll just spread that out and it'll be fine. And there we go. And then I'll put one here and here. Don't ask me why I like to catty corner things, I just do. Oh, come on. Like, you can make them go, like, down further where they're kind of like this, so you can add a little bit more, which I think I might do. So instead of spreading these out, I'm just gonna do a bunch. That way it's a little different than the other one. So we'll put one here. Because you don't want them too close together, right? So I want to make him go, whoop. I like it. Okay. So now we're going to put one here and then here. Now, like I said, make sure it's leveled with the nail. So that way it doesn't stick out the sides or the top. Alright. There they are, everybody. I like it. I felt like this one needs to be up a little more. Alright. There they are. Now, let's let those dry. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn on my heater. Dude, thank you so much. Are you? Yes, I am. I'm absolutely going to wear them. It's nice when you have a clear that doesn't stick inside your brush like those other ones. Ooh, okay. I'm going to turn my heat on because I don't want this shit to run everywhere. Because I have my window open with the fan going. So, I'm going to turn my little heater on. I thought it was warm enough to be okay, but... We're gonna go 85. Let's see what that does. Holy shit, I can already feel it. Alright, everybody, ready? Oh yeah, that's nice. Woo! I'm not freezing no more. Okay. Alright, let's start. We'll let those babies go, and we'll put this here. Let's do this. Ready? Alright. Now, I'm gonna move this over. And I'm gonna need to put this here. I can't believe I'm almost out of freaking clear, y'all. Okay, you're just not gonna be able to see it, but that's alright. What are you guys gonna do, like, this weekend? I know I asked that. What's people making for dinner? I don't even know what I'm gonna make. I'm gonna double tap that. We're gonna go 1, 2. See, I'm not a big, I'm not one that puts it, I guess, in a huge whatever. I just do it, you know? Like, a lot of people can actually put their clear on in, like, a really nice, you know? Okay, this is gonna have to oscillate. 1, 2. Like, mine is either like this, like, it doesn't technically, I don't know, I just go little by little, I guess, you know? We're gonna melt that up. Clean our brush. And then, like, I can't get it big enough. And even if I use a big brush, like, not all the time can I get the bead big enough for me. But I really don't need a lot as far as, you know, whatever. I mean, you do need structure, but this is your strength powder. But you don't want to put it on like you're putting on glitter. You want to actually have a good fair amount on your brush. 1, 2, 3. But so that's why I called this acrylic application practice, because that's literally what we're doing. By me adding this is what we're doing. Just practicing to get a little better. Because, like, I'm not a patter, so I'm not really, like... I just make sure it's even, and, you know, as long as it, like, pairs into the bead I just added, that's all I care about, you know? So I don't want people to be, like, afraid of, like, oh, I can't do it because of whatever. 1, 2... Now, when we get up to this cuticle, we want to thin this top part out the best that we can. We're going to pat. I'm going to lightly pull this guy. Because when you have a big nail like this, your actual apex needs to be right in through here, because it's got to make sure that it, you know, is the basis of the nail so it doesn't break if you're wearing them out. Me, I wear them for like a day or two, so I don't really necessarily worry about that, but... But I think this is my favorite part. Do you guys like watching acrylic? Because, God, is it my favorite. I did have some dad jokes for you guys today, too. I really did. And I cannot remember it for the life of me. Like, as long as these are nice, your sides are nice and in, and you don't worry about, you know what I mean? Once you file, you're good to go. Like, I don't really worry about too much. But yeah, if you can get it in one bead, great. But I cannot. Ooh, bean and cheese burritos. I haven't had one of those in a minute. I'm gonna lightly just pull this down. Right down at the edge. I just think clear capping in general is really soothing. I don't know why, but it really is so soothing for me. But like, you can tell when you're moving this around if you have too much, not enough. But like, I don't know how else to get it to, like, you guys have watched Nelly add her clear, and it's like, oh my gosh. Like, I want to do it too. Like, I'm good at it, but I want to be a little bit more detailed with it, you know? And I pull this down so it doesn't go everywhere. And I'm going to blend this up just a hair here. Like, I really just hope that people... I'm gonna say, like, I used to be, like, wouldn't talk about a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? I have a divot right here, and I don't like it. See? We have a divot right there. Oh my gosh, I will have to tell you, last night, well, there we go. Nice. Last night, dude, my cat likes to sit on the back of my neck, right? And she farted on the back of my neck. I am not even joking. Oh my god, I almost puked. It was so bad. And she sat there and wouldn't get off. I'm like, get off my back! It was absolutely horrifying. Have you guys ever had a cat do that? Like, for me, I used to just build an entire nail up, and I would put, like, excess and excess and excess on. Let's see. Here's a big bead. Let's see if I can walk this down. So it's all about getting better and growing. That is the whole point in this. And it's like regular therapy for me. And I'm just gonna like... I guess as long as it's encapsulating it, it doesn't matter, right? Oh, there we go. Just need a little tiny bit at the end and we're good to go. I'm a type person that I'm a faffer, so I faff and I faff and I faff and I don't even realize it, you know? Night, Nelly. Love you, girl. But I'm excited. I'm going to be using Zule's top coat because I feel like it's going to bring out that sparkle on these. Okay, I'm going to pull this over the edge, encapsulate that edge. Oh, okay, that's nice. I think that actually looks good. I don't have an apex, but I still think it looks nice. So, that's nice. Thanks, guys, for being here. Oh my gosh, it literally made it so nice to the point that my acrylic isn't flowing everywhere anymore. Shit. If you do this, it helps your acrylic flow a lot better when you go to put it on the nail. I think for the most part, to me, I feel like laying clear acrylic is kind of like reading a book where people get so into it. You know what I mean? Is that making sense? I feel like that's what this is. Because for the longest time, like, I was going through this, like, transition of, like, do I talk about a lot of stuff? I know a lot of people like to hear us talk about a lot of things that are going on in our lives, which I totally understand, right? And, I felt like I couldn't. I don't know. I'm gonna pull this down a little bit. But I have been battling something fierce, y'all. And, you know, I'm okay on the outside, obviously, but, you know, my cat, she is not doing very well, and the tumor is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've had her for a long time. And so it's really taken a toll on me. And I was like, I have to do nails. I was like, there's no other thing I can do that's going to make me happy other than do nails and create to keep my mind off of I know what's going to happen. Because it's really hard to look my kids in the face and say, well, you know, we just lost Ella in March of 2025, and here we are 8 months, 9 months later, about to lose the one we didn't think we were going to. And it's been crazy because I'm trying to do everything I possibly can for her because there's literally nothing we can do. She has stage 4 cancer, and she has this tumor on like her boob, and it has grown just in the freaking month or 2 months. 2 months? It's been 2 months. I looked, I saw it, and I was like, what the hell is that? Well, it was growing fast. Like within a few days, it would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was like, oh my gosh. I took her to like 2 different vets. The one vet was like, yeah, we're just gonna cut her open, cut it off, and bring her home. And I'm like, how do you know? Like, you haven't even taken blood work yet. How do you know what's... She was like, oh, it's nothing. And I was like, really? She was like, they didn't give me no answers really other than, oh, it's nothing. We're just gonna cut it out. And, you know, she dies, she dies. I was like, no. No. Hi, Andy. Hi, Anna. If I don't say your name, guys, please don't get offended by it at all. I'm trying to do this as fast as I possibly can. So, yeah, that one just was a farm vet, and I thought, oh, it's a farm vet. So I thought, oh, I'll have much better time going to that vet. You know, I feel like they would not work with me, but like be straight up with me and whatever. And no, she wasn't. She just wanted to cut her open. And then I said, what if something happens on the table? And she was like, well, she's dead. Then you can cremate her. And I was like, wait, I just found out. And at that time, I didn't even know what it was at that point. And she was like, yeah, I'm not going to do any blood work until the day we do surgery. And I was like, what? Wouldn't you need to know that prior to doing surgery before you go cutting into shit? And she was like, no, our protocol is to do it the day of. And I said, well, how can you do it the day of and know what you're getting yourself into if you're going to do it and then you're going to go right into surgery? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And so I went to another vet, and he was like, I'm sorry, but I cannot work on her. She's stage 4. If we cut into that, it's going to metastasize throughout her entire body. So what it's going to do is going to trigger, like the cells in there, and it's going to just ramp up in her body. And then she's going to be in so much pain, and it's going to go nuts. And he was like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to waste your money knowing that that's what's going to happen. He was like, I mean, I can do it, but I'm just going to warn you now that you're not going to like the outcome because it's scarier than just keeping her comfortable and doing what you can for her and, you know, making sure you spoil her as much as you can. And I was like, oh. He was like, because it is not fun. It's bad. And he was like, it's hard seeing people go through that because they think they want to give them the best chance, but really the best thing to do is to put them down. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that, sir. Okay? Okay, sir? I don't know if I can do that. Hi, Ginger. I am making nails. I know. Hi, Butterfly. It's a nail, and I am clear capping, is what this is called. I'm pretty sure I only need a tibby bit right here, and then we're golden on this one. As long as your glitter is completely encapsulated, guys, and it's not like super lumpy and bumpy, take your time when you're doing this. Okay? Take your time when you're adding this acrylic. Okay? I just stuck my brush through the side of that, damn it. She looks good. I feel like I need a little bit more right there on the side. But for the most part, like, she's okay. She eats. you know, really, really good. And I don't really have to worry about too much other than that big old tumor. She has licked it raw. So because she has licked it raw, guys, like, I'm serious. It has grown, and there's 5 new tumors on the whole thing, and I'm like, oh my god. I looked at her and I noticed that she was bleeding all over, and I was like, what the hell? Well, the doctor did tell me that basically what's going to happen is her inside is going to become her outside. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's literally nothing I can do about it. And so I was like, oh, that's a thing. And he said, yes, ma'am. He said, it's horrible, I know, but once it gets to that point, that's when you need to bring her in and we need to put her down. And I was like, oh my, like, I don't know if I can do that, sir. And he was like, you have to think of the well-being of her. You don't want her to suffer. And I know, I realize that. And I obviously will do the right thing, right? But it's just like one of the things where it's hard for me to look at her and tell her everything's going to be okay, you know? When I know she's not really in pain. Oh, shit. She's not in pain. Like he said, she's not in pain. It's more so just uncomfortable. And so when she is licking and doing all that, it's because that's what they do, you know, they have stuffed saliva in their mouth, and that's what helps them to, you know, help whatever. I'm just going to leave it like that, guys. I am not going to put any more on there and, like, try to do an apex and stuff. We're just clear capping. We're just practicing clear capping. Obviously, there's enough on there that I'm okay, right? So, and make sure you clean your brush out along the way, too. So, I mean, I've been dreading that part. But as far as my channel is concerned, like, I feel like I've gained this a little bit new perspective on myself. Because last year, I held a lot of shit back. And I held back a lot of things that I really wanted to do last year. And so this year I'm not doing that. And I'm just, you know, just gonna do my thing and go from there and take my channel to the next level and really try to focus on goals and being there for not just, you know, because there's a lot of times too, like, time flies and you don't realize it when you just are going through a lot, you know. She is my baby. So long? Yes, they are 5XL. You should. Yeah. This right here is part of the reason why I made the whole nail therapy thing, because I don't know, I was like, you know what? I need some type of therapy, and I don't go to a therapist. I'm not ashamed to say it. But I feel like it's one of the things where it's probably great for some people, but I just need a creative outlet. I think that helps my brain just kind of, you know, get somewhere. I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but. And when I created the nail therapy sesh, I really didn't think anybody was going to really care to like it or want anything to do with it. But I hoped that even if in a nail therapy sesh, which is just practicing or just getting creations out of my mind, you know, I always want to inspire people, but at the same time, I just needed to really take that time for myself and just create without saying, oh, what do I do? Or how do I do this? And just sit down, create, and that's it. You know what I mean? And so I'm glad that you guys like the therapy sesh, because we kind of explore things and then it ends up turning out like super cool, you know, which is one of my favorite things about it. Is sometimes I'm even doing things I didn't even know I could do, you know, or I'm pushing myself to a different degree that I necessarily wouldn't push myself to begin with. And I'm a Sagittarius, so I just generally jump into shit without thinking about it, because the more I think about it, the more my brain just wants to shut off, you know. That's just kind of how it is. But I think for mental health wise, I don't typically talk about it, but I've always wanted to kind of tell my story and like how I got here, you know? It's pretty painful, but then again, it's not at the same time because I had a second chance at life. So it's kind of like one of the things where I'm scared to tell it, but I want to. Right? I was kind of a menace to society, actually. But not really in like a way that you guys would think. Just in my eyes, I was. So I figured like the nail sessions would really be a point for me to go over things or explain things or whatever. Whatever we wanted to do, you know? Just hang out and just talk. And if you want to tell me something, tell me. You know, we can talk about anything here. I don't mind. I'm gonna pull this down. You know, I've done a lot of stuff on here. I've come across a lot of people on YouTube. But a lot of the time I was really like naive and young. Not young, because I'm not young, but but naive in a sense, I guess, you know? In hopes of just putting things out there that I love and hoping that they stick. You know? And hoping that people, it inspires people to, you know, be able to, you know, if you're on drugs or you can't get off of them or whatever, you know, or you're in jail or you've been in jail or whatever the case may be. I always thought I was going to come out with a book because I just don't know where to start if I'm going to actually talk about shit. Does that make sense? In terms of myself. I don't really know how I would go about that, you know? But I am in my zone, dude. I absolutely love this. Just sitting here and doing this cuz I mean, I've never done 10 nails at one time. Never, not one time. So, I'm super ecstatic that you guys, this is my first and you guys are here with me. And we're doing 10 nails. Ah! And really, the only thing we're doing 10 of is clear capping, so. I'm trying to build up this edge just a little bit here. Now, when you're going back and forth with this, make sure it's real lightly, guys. Like, you don't have to have a lot of pressure when you're doing this. Just make sure you're keeping the sides in and you don't have big bulges. And then you can see where, you know what I mean? It comes here and it comes down. But there's still enough on there for you to not go through that layer of glitter. You know what I mean? And I think I need just a little bit on this one. Just another layer here because I feel like I don't have a lot right here in the center. And then I'm going to pull it up. Meld it and pull it up. There we go. But it's nice having all you guys here too. And everybody who is new. We have a bunch of new subscribers, guys. We did hit over 6K last night. Isn't that crazy? I have a little like hump right here. So just make sure there's not a bunch of dips. and you make it to where it melts into where this is at and becomes one. See, now I'm going to lightly just pull this up like so, and then it's going to fill in that spot that I had right there. Nice. All right. Hi, Michaela. Aw, thanks, guys. It's all because of you guys. It's all because of you guys. No worries, Christina, love. If you're on once I'm done, I'll draw. Okay, love, no worries. What are you making? Oh, I see it now. I see it. I might have to go get another clear, guys. I think I have enough to do the rest of the, like, this set here, but the other set's gonna have to be a different clear. Maybe at one point I'll tell my story. Because I think that's literally a lot of it is, I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for that. So, I kind of feel like it would help, but I want to help people with that type of stuff too. Because I feel like I can, you know? Because right now it's hard to get off drugs. It's hard to get off stuff right now, you know? People have a hard time just even getting, like, you know, it's just hard. It's just hard anymore. Okay, we're going to bring this up, and we're going to melt that in as much as I can. Now, I'll probably have to go over that moon just a little bit better, but for the most part, I think we'll be alright in terms of being able to get that guy in there. Plus, I always think that being with creators, you know, on lives, I really feel like it's such a cool way to connect. You know what I mean? Too. Not just connect with, like, what we're making, but connect on another level as well. Because we all know we have, like, these, like, parasocial relationships, too. Okay, so I'm keeping this nice and clean up here at the cuticle. Ooh, that's so pretty. Bye, love. Well, I was gonna talk today, and then I was like, I mean, I can talk a little bit, I guess. Do you guys want to know a little bit about me? You guys can ask questions, too. I don't think I've ever done an actual Q&A either. So if you're new, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Because we do some crazy nails. And I'm definitely getting into, like, when it's wet like this, I don't know if you can tell, but you can tell how it's flowing into each other by the light when you go like this. So that's how I kind of am able to judge my... Let's see. Well, me and my husband met when we were in 7th grade. And we've been together ever since. It just hit 13 years this year. Or not this year. God, I still think it's 2025. Um, but yeah, we've been married for, yeah, married for 13, and we've been together for 22, which is crazy. But it's funny because when I was in science class, I was walking out of my science lab, and there was like stairs, and he was coming down the stairs, and I was going up the stairs, and we just seen each other, and we locked eyes, and it was that for that. Swear. And it was quite funny because it's funny because he went to school with me in first grade, and where I lived, we had where we had to each school was on like 4 different points, and then when we got to middle school, you know what I mean, we were all together. Well, in first grade I moved, and we were in the same class together, and I told my mom, I'm gonna marry him, Mom. And she was like, yeah, whatever, shush, you're like 7. You know what I mean? Not 7, but you know what I mean. I was really little. And we both had first grade together, and we was always together. And he was the first one to ever like stick up for me, because there was this really like mean fat girl, and she would always bully me. And he one day he come up, and he literally pushed her off the jungle gym because she was being a dick. And I was like, yep, I knew it. You know what I mean? Like, I knew. Like, I knew. Like, you guys remember the tetherball poles? I loved playing tetherball. But, so yeah, but when we got into middle school, I moved in first grade, so I didn't, you know what I mean? Didn't get to see him again. And, so I kind of forgot about him. Until I went back till we got into middle school, and then once we got into middle school, and there he was. And it was like, I was like, this cannot be him. I was telling my best friend, I was like, Heather, oh my God, look, it's him. It was funny. And, he did the same thing with his friends. It was funny. But, we've been together ever since, and, you know, it's been a little cray-cray. We did have our first kid when we were 15. I got pregnant at 15, and this is kind of where my life changed a lot. And I got pregnant, and my dad, we're gonna go full mental, I guess, okay? Because you have to know in order to understand the story. Are you guys here for it? If you're not here for it, that's okay, you guys can leave. But the fact that when I got pregnant, right, I was freaking out, but my mom always told me, you get pregnant, that's it. Don't come around, you know? Because she just wanted me to graduate and not have to worry about things, you know what I mean? And however, I had sex one time and got pregnant. On the first try, I got pregnant. So, I had the lovely thing of having to tell my mom. And that was a shit time. However, I obviously, my dad, here's the kicker, my dad wanted me to give up my kid. And I said, no, it's my doing. You know what I mean? And, back then, you weren't, like, people would make fun of you. If you come to school pregnant, like, at my school, you didn't come to school pregnant. If you came to school pregnant, people was making fun of your ass. There was no, oh my God, you're pregnant. So I got made fun of bad. But I wasn't really worried about that because I didn't give a shit because I had a kid on the way. And he was more important than anybody else in that school. You know what I mean? But freaking my dad was like, nope, I'm taking you Saturday and we're going down. You're getting an abortion. And I was like, no, I'm not. And he made me go down there. And imagine what that does to a 15-year-old, right? I have no idea what the fuck's going on. Shit's crazy. Like, right? Is it, are you? Oh my gosh. It's crazy because I was like, I'm fine. Blah, blah, blah. And then the very first time I have sex, I get pregnant. Are you freaking kidding me? I was like, no! Alright, just making sure this is good. But he was like, you know, whatever, whatever. And so he actually took me down. And it was like a 2-hour drive. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was 4 months, no, 4 weeks? 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. When we got down there. And we pulled in. I didn't talk the whole way. Of course, right? And I was pissed at my dad. Didn't want nothing to do with him. And I was like, I will go and I will live on my own. I don't need anybody. I just need myself and my kid. I mean, I'm only 15 at this point, but I had already been basically raised on my own. I raised myself, pretty much. You know what I mean? So, that's just me. That's just how it was. I had been raising myself for a long time. And, my dad was kind of a drunk. He worked all the time, so he would always drink, and I would have to go and drive and go get him, or go to the bar with him and sit till he's done so I could drive him home. And I was like 12, you know? I was like 12, I already knew how to drive. And that's not really something you want your children to be a part of, you know? But I had my little sister to take care of and all that jazz, so it was what it was. You know what I mean? But I will tell you this entire thing. Oh, thanks, Tori. Yes, I will never forget him. He is the love of my life. Even though he's not here, he's the love of my life. Literally, every year. It's hard because his birthday is in February. And so when February rolls around, it's a very hard month for me. A very hard month for me. We got, this one is the last one that we have to encapsulate, and then we have the other set to do, and I'm going to have to get some different clear. See, this is when I wish I had a backup of Young Nails clear. So, you know what I'm saying? I just wish I had a backup, because then I would be good. But hello, if you're new, I'm kind of telling a story and doing this at the same time, so it's kind of hard to talk to chat, but I do appreciate you guys if you do come in. Okay? Let me redo this paper towel over here. Nope, it's just falling apart. Okay, nice. Hold on, I'll get back to my story in a second. So, this is actually story time, practice, application, and hanging out with sugar. But if you guys like a good story, then cool. Alright, let me grab another. I don't have a lot of paper towels left. Anyway, where was I at? Oh, yeah. So, I went to the place, you know. We get in there. We're walking up there, and I have no idea what's gonna happen. I just knew that they told my dad, you need her to bring extra clothes, a bag, pads, all that shit. And I'm like, what the fuck do I need all that for? You know what I mean? Because I had no idea what the hell was about to happen. And it was funny, not funny, but I say that in a term of like, I was shocked. Does that make sense? And I was shocked because when we ended up on the way in, there were picket people outside. And they threw rocks at me, calling me a baby killer and all this stuff. And they didn't even know me. They didn't know why I was there. I mean, obviously, they probably see people go in and out of there all the time. But for me, I didn't know what the hell was going on. And they called me a baby killer. They threw rocks at me. I got hit in the face with one of their signs. And so I ran inside up the stairs. And it was crazy because the moment that you think, oh my God, what was that? You know, I'm like, that's okay. You know, I can handle this. I can handle this. You know, I'm just like trying to really freaking hone in on what I gotta do. You know, like in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, there's a street down here to my left. You know, it's cold, but I don't care. There's a door. I can run out the back door if I need to. You know, like that's how my brain was. Like I wasn't gonna allow them to take my kid, right? So we're sitting there, and it all plays a part into why things happened the way that they did and how I ended up here, I swear. And let me just say that God gave me a second chance. So that's why I always tell you guys, I'm so fucking grateful to be here. I'm grateful to even be on this channel. I'm grateful to even have found the people I have found, the ladies that are here, everybody, all my subscribers, everybody. Like, I always say that because I truly have no idea, like, how to, like, really explain it, but yeah. Anyway, so we were sitting there. There was a lady that was literally 8 months pregnant, y'all. 8 months pregnant with her 10th kid. And she was done. She was like, nah, man. She was like, oh, what are you in here for? Da-da-da. So I told her, you know, and she had her kids playing beside her. And she was really nice. And she was like, yeah, I can't deal with another kid right now. And I was like, oh. Because at that point, it didn't dawn on me that that's what was happening, right? My dad didn't explain to me. And back then, we didn't have internet, okay? So I didn't know what the hell was really going on. I just, whatever, right? Like, I knew he was having me go down there and it was a clinic, and you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So I knew that, like, I needed to go see the doctor first, so I wasn't quite sure exactly what really was going to happen and how things went and all that, right? So, after she said that to me, I was like, oh, you know, and she was like, how far along are you? And I'm like, I'm just a couple weeks. I don't really exactly know, but this was my chance to, like, find out exactly how far along I was, and, as well. And so when she came, she's like, they called her name. I forget what her name was, but they called her name, and it was crazy, you guys, because her kids stayed out in that room while she went in, and it was like maybe 20 minutes. And she come out, and she wasn't pregnant no more. And it freaked me the f out. I was like, Dad. I was like, what the just what? Where's her kid? Like, I was confused, but, like, I knew, because, you know, I'm not stupid, but at the same time, I thought maybe I was just going down to, like, you know, whatever, but no. She was 8 months, and they did the abortion anyway. And I was like, it literally, it fucked me up. I'm not even gonna lie, guys. Excuse my French. And at that point, I was like, okay. Alright, well, okay. Like, you know, I'm slowly freaking out, but I can't show that I'm freaking out, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, stay calm. It's okay. Maybe that's not, you know, maybe that's not what happened. Maybe you're just assuming. You know what I mean? Like, my brain's like, hell no, I'm not doing that. This is crazy. What the fuck? Who could ever do that? Like, I was more, like, pissed at the fact, like, that a mom could ever do it. But I was young. And I know sometimes things have to happen, right? It's not, I don't have any stance on anything. But next thing I know, the doctor comes out, she calls my name, and she's like, blah, blah, blah. And so she's like, make sure you grab your bag. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So I grab my bag, and I'm literally clenching my bag so hard that my hand's turning red. Because I'm like, where's this lady about to take me? What is going on? And she takes me in this room. She's like, oh, it's just the doctor's room. You know, he's just gonna look you over, and we'll be able to, you know, take an ultrasound and blah, blah, blah. We're just gonna see how far along you are. And I'm like, that's okay. And when they did that, the doctor ended up being a woman, right, that came in. And so I felt a little bit more comfortable, because I was like, surely they're going to do right? Like, I was very naive, but not stupid, if that makes sense. And so I was like, okay. She hooks me up to the monitor. And I said, and verbatim, I said, can I please see? Because they don't, like, let you look. Like, they don't give you that chance of, like, do you see what's inside of you? That's a viable life. Are you sure you want to go through with it? You know what I mean? Because I was there. I didn't have a choice. I had to go there. And so, freaking, I was like, can I please have a picture? You know? And, by the way, if you're new here, hello, my name is Sugar. I am getting to a story that's a very long story, but it is the reason why I'm here. So, if you guys are here for it, make sure you subscribe, because I don't usually talk a lot. Maybe I'll talk a lot about it. I don't know. Alright, so here's the next set. Here's this set here. Oh, look at that. We don't have much left. And anyway, I asked her for a picture. And I was like, you know, I was like, can I please have a picture? And she was like, why do you want a picture for? And I was like, why? I was like, I thought you guys, you know, I thought you gave pictures. I want to see them. And she was like, she turned the, like, little monitor over so I could see him. And she was like, you're having a boy. I didn't even know how far along I was. I was 4 months. 4.5, almost 5 months. And, she then once again reiterated, why do you want a picture? And I said, because I want to see my kid. I want to see him. You know, I was young. I didn't know. I thought this was the only time I was going to the doctor for the most part. And, she was like, well, we don't normally do this, and that's a weird request, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I was like, please. And I said, I'm not here willingly, Laylee. I said, I'm here because I am made to be here. And she was like, oh. And when I told her that, that's when she understood and gave me the picture. She printed me out only one picture, and that's it. So, as I was laying there before the doctor could come in, I heard in the other room a lady crying and screaming, and I was like, nope, I can't do this. I can't fucking do this. And I'm pretty sure that they don't give you pictures, because if you did, then they wouldn't get, you know what I mean? They wouldn't get the money for you going and having an abortion. You know what I'm saying? So I took that picture, got my shit packed, like, grabbed my bag, and I was out. I was done. I wasn't having it. And I told her, the lady, because I opened the door, right, after I got all my shit. I got my clothes on. The doctor hadn't even actually, like, the other doctor hadn't even came in yet. So I didn't even realize that I was actually going to be having surgery. Like, they were going to actually do it that day. And I come out, got my shit, opened the door, and the doctor met me right at the freaking door. I was like, oh, hell no. And I was like, I'm done. Don't touch me. Get off me. And they grabbed my arms and told me that I was making a huge mistake and all this stuff. And I was like, what the freak is going on? Like, this was a world that, like, I don't know. Hi, Allison. No, I don't. I mean, I thought about it, but I don't. Honestly. I got to clean the... Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me set this up here because I need more monomer and I need to clean that out on my dish. But, yeah, I was like... Yeah, anyway. So, I pretty much was like... freaking the fuck out, right? And when he grabbed my arm and stuff, I was just like, oh my god, this is it. This is it. I'm gonna fucking die. Because I really thought I was. Like, I really thought I was gonna die that day. Obviously, I'm 15, so I don't really know what's going on, right? And, I ended up freaking getting away from him or whatever, and I come out to the lobby, because he was like, get her, grab her, don't let her go out into the lobby. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? I was very confused. But I wasn't going to allow them to do shit with nothing. Nothing. And, I ran out into the lobby, and my dad was like, what the, you know what I mean? I was like, Dad, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You are not making me do this. No fucking way. So he was like, okay. And he was like, let's go. So he grabbed me, and that doctor was like, no, you gotta pay. And I said, I'm not doing shit. I was like, I'm going to the car. We're getting the fuck out of here. You know? Because it's hard. Like, you wouldn't think that that stuff is what it is. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And so we got into the car or whatever, and... Hi. And, after that, he was like, I'm proud of you. He said, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have made you go down there. I shouldn't have just thrown it on you because you still hadn't even processed it to begin with, and yada yada. We had an hour and something drive down, you know, back home. So, and, even on the way out, they were still threw rocks at me because they thought I got an abortion. You know? They really did. They threw rocks at my face. And they were telling my dad that, oh, I'm just, you know, he's a bad father because he, you know, I went through with this, and blah, 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 blah. Which, I didn't go through with it, but do you think them people stopped to just ask? No. Not that I had time to sit and chit-chat with the people I didn't know that threw rocks at my freaking head, but, you know what I mean? Like, them people don't stop to just, they're just yelling at everybody. And it's like, what the freak? So, I decided, you know, nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna keep this. This is my kid, you know, whatever. And everybody after that got used to the fact that I was gonna have a kid, you know. However, I was about 6 months, and I, you know, decided to keep him, and we were getting everything ready, and I had multiple doctor's visits, and we had the baby shower, and all this stuff, right? And, then, I don't know, for whatever reason, I mean, God only knows the reason, right? And I always feel like stuff's meant to be, like, it is what it is, right? But it was a couple months or two after that happened that I ended up literally going into labor early. And I was only 6 months at that time. And, nobody knew why or what or anything like that. And we had a storm. And my stepmom was like, oh, you're fine. It's nothing. You know, whatever. You're gonna be fine. Hey, will you bring me a pop? And, but at that time, I was in full-blown labor. I didn't know. But, like, I knew something was wrong, right? But nobody would take me to the hospital. And I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. Something's freaking wrong. Because, like, we know our bodies better than anybody, right? Will you take that one? Yeah. I got it out of that. I didn't get a new one. So, from Friday to Sunday, we had a storm. Like a frozen storm. Whatever. And, from, like, that whole weekend or whatever. So, I couldn't really do much anyway. But, needless to say, I was in labor the whole time. Didn't know. I was just really sick. And freaking didn't know. Whatever. But my stepmom was like, oh, you're fine. You're just whatever, whatever. And I was mad because she didn't believe me. So, I was like, what the hell? Like, what is with people not listening to kids? Right? Like, what the freak, man? But, oh, look at that's gonna look so pretty, right? Oh my gosh. And, by the time Sunday rolled around, there was nothing I could do. I was in literal labor. My water broke, didn't know it until I got in the car and it just went, you know? And as little as I was, because I was only like 100 pounds, you know, not even. I was very little. And, on the way to the hospital, they didn't do shit. Like, nobody did anything. The doctor was like, well, blah, blah, blah. We'll have to call somebody else and yada, yada. And they were taking their sweet old time. And it was fucking just bullshit. You know? Anyway. And, so they put me on the little machine to the ultrasound machine and that. And, realized that, okay, something's wrong here. But they didn't know what was wrong, right? Nothing like chromosome-wise. Just, my body was just literally not wanting to. It was like acting like it was a foreign issue in my body, which you'll understand why that is in just a little bit. But, so I didn't know that. Nobody really knew. And, next thing I know, the doctor leaves and goes on break, and he didn't listen to me. And I was like, oh my god, somebody needs to listen to me, da 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 da, you know. The nurses weren't even listening to me. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Well, when I was in there, they decided to tell me that it was basically, yes, I was in labor. They don't know why, but that I need to brace for, you know, having a baby this early. And then he said, and this was back in 2003, and they didn't take viable babies at that time that were under 25 weeks or something like that. And because I was early and they didn't know what the hell was going on, they just basically was bracing for me to have him, and whether he lived, and if he didn't, he didn't. Like, nobody gave a fuck. And so, yeah, the doctor left, and I told him, listen, I am, like, he's coming out. And she was like, no, 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 you know, you're not dilated enough, and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, lady, you just need to shut the fuck up and listen to me now. And she wouldn't. I was so mad. And so, next thing I know, Tony's grandma comes in. She gives me a hug. And when I bent up to give her a hug, well, she bent down, but I bent up at the same time. My water, Jesus. He literally started coming out. There was nothing I could do. And by the time the doctor got in there, he was already halfway out. Well, needless to say, I'm not gonna tell you any about the, you know, da-da-da-da, but needless to say, he was out and he lived for an hour and 45 minutes by himself. They didn't add anything. They didn't give him any air, oxygen, nothing. Nothing. Not a fucking thing they did for him. And he still was breathing on his own. The only problem is he was so little, guys, that you could see through him. His eyes were open, and they told me he could see me, but he was so see-through because he was so little that he couldn't see, like, you know what I mean? Like, he was still transparent, so he was red. And at that point, like, they told me that he could see me, like, he could hear me, but, like, it wasn't really anything because he was, like, still transparent and whatnot. So I just held him. Me and Tony held him for an hour and 45 minutes, like, and even longer than that. However, here's the issue, right? I'm trying to have this time with my kid. I'm, 15 years old. We're both trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And they basically wanted me to miscarry. Okay? This is the sad part. They wanted me to miscarry. And, sucks that they even wanted that to begin with, but whatever, it is what it is. And, he was so cute, you guys. He was so cute. He was my angel baby. He looked like his dad, I'll tell you that. And he also looked like his brother, which I had Aiden after him. And, I held him, and he was breathing on his own for an hour and a half. Like, I even told the doctor, I said, if he's breathing on his own, why can't you just give him oxygen to help? Like, why are you not putting him in one of those little cage things? Like, what is going on? He was like, no, we don't do that unless you're over a certain amount. They're not viable. I said, what do you mean he ain't viable? But you know what, though? I now understand and realize that I understand that, right? I understand that point of view because his body was see-through and he was fully developed. His skin wasn't fully developed. You know what I mean? His brain was there and stuff like that, but they couldn't guarantee me that he wouldn't have any issues. Not that that would matter, but you know what I'm saying. And so I get it now. Like, I understand. But at the same time, it killed me. It literally killed me. I'm not even joking. At 15 years old, it killed me. Because nobody was listening to me, right? And so, after me and him was just, like, staring at him, talking to him, and we had him, like, wrapped up, you know what I mean? And when we had him wrapped up, we kind of had his legs kind of up like this, you know what I mean? Where they're kind of bent, but up. And, we watched him take his last breath. And he opened up his mouth. And, you know what I mean? He did a little, like, you know how when babies open up their mouth and they just do like a, you know what I mean? Like that little, with their tongue. That's what he did. And when he did that, I just knew. I knew instantly. Right? Tony was like, what? And I was like, it just happened. It happened so fast, but at the same time, it was slow-mo at the same time. Isn't that weird? And once that happened, it was just like, I freaked out. Like, I literally freaked out. I freaked out. But we held him until we couldn't anymore. They tried to take him, and I said, no. You're not taking my kid. You already... Because I felt like it was the doctor's fault that all of that happened. And so I didn't want him to touch me. I didn't want nobody to touch me. And, I was like, it's your fault. Da-da-da-da-da. So it wasn't right for me to blame the doctor. But if they would have just listened to me, that maybe they could have done something sooner. But then, again, you just don't know. And you're young, so things are a lot different. Your perspective is different. And so when he took his last breath, his little leg went like this. And it's taken me all these years to be able to talk about it. And I still get fucked up talking about it. But when his little leg did that, like, I don't know. I couldn't handle it. you know? And so when that happened, the nurse that was in the room, she was like, okay, give him to me now. I was like, what? And they're like, Crystal, we need to take you down to surgery. I had to have a DNC done because they couldn't get the placenta out. So, and because they couldn't get the placenta out, I had to have immediate surgery after that. Because at the same time, they were still trying to get everything out, but they were trying to let me grieve and all this other shit. And so I told them no, you know what I mean? Like, just leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, needless to say, they took me down to surgery. And so there wasn't really anything I could do. And when I came back, I had no idea where my kid was. Because when I came back, I was confused, right? As anybody would be, you know? And so I just wanted to know where he was, you know what I mean? I just wanted to know, like, where is he? What's he doing? But as soon as I woke up, they were like, oh, you need to handle her. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who says that to somebody? Right? You need to handle her, you know? Like, who really says something like that to somebody, you know? This is my favorite nail. But, so after that, they gave me something. Does that make sense? Like, they gave me something to stop freaking out. So after they put this thing in my, oh my gosh, what was that? My vein or whatever. I passed out and I woke up on my couch. And I didn't realize, I thought I was still in the hospital. But I hear the TV going and I'm like, what the I didn't even realize I was at home, guys. And because I didn't realize I was at home, I was freaking out. I was running around. Where the fuck is my kid? Give me my kid! You know, for an hour, running up and down the stairs. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? What did you do with my kid? You know. And that went on for a good couple hours. Well, it was like an hour, and then, you know, it was like really bad. Because I was confused. Because, you know. And so, yeah, it was insane, y'all. It was absolutely bonkers. But I'm so grateful you guys are here. I hope you are enjoying this. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I really do hope you're enjoying this little adventure time that we're going on right now. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I gotta plug my phone in. Oh, thank you. Hi, Denise. Thanks for staying here, guys. I really appreciate it. Anybody who's new, hello. Welcome. Alright. Shout out to the 37 people that's still in here. Like, for real. Look at this one. Woo! Oh, yeah. Okay, so I need to get another clear. Let me clean this out. So, I only have 3 nails left to do, so, in terms of encapsulate, so I'm going to grab... I don't know if I have any other clear. You know what? I do. I'm just going to use the rest of my... This is why I wish I had a backup of young nails. Damn it. I'm going to use my nail mate. I'm going to use the rest of my nail mate on this set because this set's bomb and I like it. Alright. Hello. Thank you. And, so, yeah, and it really messed me up for years and years and years after that because, and that kind of led into everything that kind of happened, that kind of led into why everything happened the way it did. Look at this. I have barely any, why my life got fucked up the way it did. But I essentially, like, went back to school. Well, I didn't go back to school for almost a year after that, so I didn't want to face anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to deal with anybody. You know what I mean? And at first, it kind of like, I don't know, like it really messed me up, you guys. And I didn't realize what was going on or how or what to do. And I just laid in my bed for months. And I'm serious. I laid in my bed watching out the window, watching the seasons. Like, you know, in movies when you watch the seasons go by, I am serious. I laid in my bed. I didn't move. I didn't leave my room. And all I had was all of his stuff with me still from the baby shower, you know. We put the crib up. We got everything ready and it was still at my house because everything had happened so quickly. And so it was just one of the things where I don't know. I couldn't talk. I couldn't function. I couldn't do anything. My husband literally did everything for me. Okay, guys? We were 16. And he was there for me the whole time. He went and got a job. He worked his ass off. He tried to do everything he could to make me laugh and take me out to eat and all of it. And he was hurting too. You know? Like, it wasn't just me. It was him too. You gotta understand that the men feel it just as much as we do. Okay? The men really do feel it. Now, there are some people out there that could give a shit less. Hi, Melody. Hi. But, yeah. So, inevitably, I was okay. Like, that next summer, I was okay after that, right? Like, not okay, but, like, I could get back to doing things, but I went ahead and signed up and said I was going to go to vocational school because I wanted to become a nurse. I wanted to become a baby doctor. So that way what happened to me couldn't happen to anybody else. Like, I had a dream of having my own practice. So that way, like, people and young women and, you know, young women and ladies could have a safe space and they knew exactly the truth of what everything was going on. And there was no bullshit in between. It was, here, this is what's going on. This is the truth. Because so many people lied to me. So many people, like, you know what I'm saying? So I had this, like, thing in my head that's almost kind of what gave me my oomph to get up and go back to school. And, you know what I mean? I mean, I was only 16 going on 17, so I was still young. But, so I went for nursing in school, and then I got accepted into, oh my gosh, Penn State, which I didn't even think that I didn't even know that was a thing, but I got it. I was the first one to get accepted into college in my family, and so I was, like, ecstatic because I was like, oh my god, I really did, you know, I got accepted in, like, this is crazy. And I was excited because I really thought, like, my entire life was going to change for the better after that. However, things changed and I got pregnant again. And you guys want to know something, like, super funny? My mom, my graduation day, literally, I get dressed and I'm walking and Tony was like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, no, dude. Hell no. I was, like, in straight denial. I was in straight denial. And turns out I was. So, the day I walked down the thing to get my diploma, it was so, like, you could see it. It was so crazy. I was like, no. I mean, because I didn't drink or anything, like, at that moment. Like, I drank, but, like, I didn't drink. Because I knew I was potentially pregnant. So I didn't, like, drink or go to any parties or anything like that. I just stayed home. Because I didn't want anything to happen in case I was. But, yeah. My party, my mom's like, are you pregnant? And I was like, no. My grandma was like, I had a dream that you're pregnant. Are you pregnant? Because my grandma has dreams. Like those little, not like prophecy dreams, but like she dreams things and then they happen. And then she knows about them whether you tell her or not. Like, I come from a long line of those types of people, okay? And, I have that same shit happen to me as well. And, I was like, no, I'm fine, you know. She was like, because if you are, just let us know. And I was like, no. Grandma always knows, y'all, I'm telling you. I mean, typically moms always know too. But, yeah, Grandma knew. Grandma was the first one that was like, Crystal, you can tell me. I was like, no. She's gave me that look. She was like, because I'm gonna know before you anyway. So if I'm asking you, then you better tell me. And I was like, oh my god. You know? Oh no, I got a brush hair inside of my clear. No. And so yeah, turned out I did. Or she knew before me, but that's okay. She always knew everything before me, okay? But so yeah. I didn't go to college because I didn't want to be pregnant going halfway to, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be alone being in college because Tony wasn't going to college, so he was just gonna go to work because his people had, like, his family had their own business, so he would just work with the family and then he was supposed to get the business. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he did. And but yeah, needless to say, I had my kid when I was 19. However, there was a lot that happened with that, and then that's when I found out I had lupus. So all these years, I had no idea what the hell was going on. Now, in between me losing my child at 15, okay, and being pregnant at 18, in between there, I had lost 2 more children, okay? On Aiden's first birthday, I was 6 months pregnant with my first daughter, and she passed away on the monitor at the doctor's office, because I had to call my mom, because I was like, Mom, something's wrong, da da da. We go to the doctor, he opens the clinic for me, and by that time, he knew me well, you know, and he opened the clinic, and he put the scan thing on me, the ultrasound, and all that, and then we did, like, the Doppler thing, and yeah, she died right there on the screen. We watched her heart stop right there on the screen. So, I had to go in, have another D&C done. SNC, actually. And, yeah, it was insane. Same thing, went right back into what I essentially had came out of. And, yeah, it was crazy. Like, so, but now I have my child. Now I have my son to worry about. So it's not just me anymore. Now I have my son. Thank you. Oh, thank you for all the floating hearts and stuff. Thank you, Unique Jada. Thank you so much. Okay, here's this one. We have one more after this, and then we're done clear capping. Yeah, guys, I love nails. I'm just basically telling you guys the story, basically, of how I got here. This is literally what led up to everything, and then how I got here. Because if I'm going to tell it, I need to tell it from the beginning, y'all, or else it's not going to make sense. I mean, I guess I really don't have to tell it from the beginning if I don't want, but yeah, so everything kind of went out the window at that point, you know? But I have not been able to say this on my channel. I've never talked about it, but I've talked about my son, losing him at 15. But I've never went into actual detail about why or how I got to this point. You know? And so, yeah, might as well. Might as well do it. If I'm gonna do it, I might as well just do it. You know? So that's what we're doing. So if you came in the middle of it, you might have to rewind it and come back. if you want to anyway, if you feel like it's worth the story. Thank you guys so much for still being here. I mean, I guess like after that, you know, you just kind of deal with it. I have a kid now. You know, Aiden was like all I had at that point, you know what I mean? So I was a young mom living on my own, and like me and my husband always worked. I always had a job except for when all that happened. Like I went to work when I was 12, so I had worked summer programs and did all that and always made my own money, so because I kind of had to, you know what I'm saying? That's just how I was brought up, because I had to deal with myself and my family and whatever. But yeah, I had lost another right after that. Didn't even know I was pregnant until whatever. So needless to say, long story short, everybody, um what was I gonna say? I lost 9 kids in total. Okay, I have 9. Okay, I have had 9 kids in total. I've lost all of them besides 2, and I have them right now. So Aiden and Harmony are my other miracle babies. They are my rainbow babies. I dealt with a lot when I was pregnant with them as well. And like a lot within my body in terms of having lupus and going through all that and blah blah blah. But like not really knowing what the hell was actually going on. So yeah. But it's kind of crazy. But with Harm, it was a little bit easier with her, but like with Aiden was my hardest kid I had had yet, because that was like before we had found out I had lupus. And then with Harmony, I was able to control things a little bit better, and in terms of my body with the whole lupus thing. So it was kind of crazy, but I wouldn't change any of it at all. But that's kind of why it ended up the way it did, because freaking I ended up having a lot of surgeries, a lot of DNCs, a lot of, you know what I'm saying? So because of all that, I ended up having really, really, really bad issues with endometriosis and being sick all the time and stuff. So that was another like part of my shit, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I ended up having Harmony. I got really sick. I had double surgeries, and then I got my full-blown hysterectomy done when I was 22. That threw me into menopause for 10 years. And then after I had Harmony, I ended up being in pain, so they put me on like Vicodin. And so when they put me on that, then they ripped it away 2 years later, and I had no idea what the hell was happening because I had never done anything before. And yeah, I was addicted. And this is the reason why I didn't think I was gonna be able to do anything. I didn't even know I was addicted to things. I didn't know what that was because I had never dealt with that before. And I thought because I was being prescribed this medication that I was fine, that I was doing the right thing and taking it the right way. And you know what I mean? I was just so sick because the lupus was so much, and that helped with the pain back then, you know? And my whole body was on fire. And like I was sick all the time, and I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to feel better. And so yeah, and then one day they ripped them away from me and said that I was done. And I was like, what? What's going on? Like, they wouldn't fill it. And I was like, whoa. What do you mean you won't fill it? Like, in that day, I was waiting on them to fill it. So I was in so much pain. And I literally collapsed and had to go to the hospital because the pain was so bad, because I couldn't walk. And then because my body was on fire, like I didn't know what the hell was going on. So at that point, you know, that was when they were like, okay, well, we'll give you a shot of this, and then da 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 da. And I was like, okay. So then that doctor put me on freaking perk, and I was on the highest thing of perks that you could have, and I was like, oh my god, it helped so much. I wasn't sick anymore. I could do things. I could clean. I could be with my kids, and it was just nice. You know, I had a good 5 years of that. 5 years? 2 years. But, they then took those away, too. And then somebody said, hey, I know where you can get these. You can get them right here. You don't have to go to the doctor to get those. And I was like, seriously? I was like, no. And he was like, yeah, you'll have to pay, though. And I was like, shit. And that's where it all started, y'all. And so I always told myself I was never, ever, ever going to touch the shit. And because, you know, I was taking it normal, I thought I was taking it, you know, because the doctor told me blah, blah, blah. I wasn't overdoing it or anything like that. But it wasn't until I got it off the street that I was doing it the wrong way. But essentially, if we get it from the doctor, they're just freaking the same as if you were to get them on the streets, y'all. Okay? Like, it really is. They do not give a fuck about us. You know? It's like, what? But yeah, I fucked things up, y'all. But that's okay. Things happen. Not a big deal. And that's okay. But for the most part, though, like, I didn't really want to deal with things anymore. And, like, my kids were never around it or anything like that. I always had a job. So, it wasn't like what you see on TV or whatever. Me, I just needed them so I could feel... If you're taking something to feel normal, there's a problem. You know what I'm saying? If you are taking something just to feel like be a normal human being every day, there's a problem. And that's exactly what I was doing, you know what I mean? The doctor prescribed them, so I'm like, the hell? I'm gonna take them, you know? Like, I'm not gonna be sick every fucking day. But once that happened, one thing led to another, and we started the hard drugs. Right? Like, I started H, and it sucked. Okay? But shit happens, right? And I went in, I think I only did, it was like 2 or 3 years, maybe 5 years of doing that. And then I couldn't do it anymore. You know? I just couldn't do it anymore. It was so bad. Because, like, it was hard because our family was, like, done. We were really good at hiding it. They just didn't know what the hell was going on. You know what I'm saying? Just because we were so good at hiding what it was that we were, you know what I mean? And, I wasn't about to tell anybody. They knew I had my stuff, so it was okay. But in terms of the harder stuff, it wasn't okay. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, harder drugs, but... If I can get off of drugs, you guys, you can do it. You can do it. And I don't think things are bad. Like, I think you gotta do whatever you gotta do. And if you do it, don't be ashamed about shit, okay? Nobody said it was gonna be easy. Nobody said, everyone said, oh, you know, it's this, it's that. But honestly, everybody has their own story or their own experience with things. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to have the same. We may have similar, but we're never going to have the same issue or the same whatever. You know what I'm saying? Alright, that one's good. And it's like, by that time, it was like, damn, dude. Like, I was deep into it. Trap houses and all, baby. Not that I'm excited to say that. I'm just saying. You know? I mean, there are some crazy things, like, I could tell you guys, but I don't like to go into depths like that. Hi, Sea Love. How are you? And for me, I feel like it got to a point where I was done. Like, I just physically was like, I'm tired of, like, being sick all the time. I'm tired of, like, dope sick. You know what I mean? Like, it sucked having to try to go do, you know, when you gotta go do everything you gotta go do just to be able to do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Most of you guys know what I'm talking about. It was annoying. It took everything, our whole day just to do that shit. Sometimes we would have to scrap stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was insane. But, and we also had our kids, you know what I mean? And it was, we had to feed our kids. We had to do what we could do for them. So, inevitably, it was a long time, but, like, we went through hell and back, and I was in denial for most of it, you know? But at the same time, like, I was so scared of being sick, I didn't even want, I just didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go that route. Like, I didn't want to deal with it, or most of it was I didn't want to be sick. I was scared of being sick, guys. Like, seriously scared of being sick. Like, scared shitless. So, if you are a kid in here, you might not want to be in here, everybody. This isn't an adult life. But, I don't know, I just couldn't take it anymore. But it wasn't just me. My husband also, you know, like, we did everything together. He has stayed by my side. We have been through everything together. We've done everything together. We've been through everything together. He also has been clean and got his life right. And we did it together. And I think that's why I cherish it a lot, because, like, technically, honestly, we would be dead somewhere under a bridge. And I'm not even exaggerating, guys. I am not even exaggerating on that one. Like, if we didn't do it when we did, and we weren't, like, pressured into doing it, because at the time, people didn't even know what we were doing. Okay? We were that good at hiding it. People didn't even know what we were doing. They knew we were doing something. They knew something was wrong. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't know what. And then, you know, we ended up losing my car, and you know how the whole thing goes. And I mean, all of that led into, I was prescribed these prescriptions, and then when they tore them away from me, I went out and got it for myself. And then me and my husband was both on it, and we were doing, I never did, like, the hard drugs that you see now. I never did any of those. Like, I never did meth or anything like that. I never did anything like that. I never did enough to where, like, I was falling out, is what they say. We always split everything, so, like, you know what I'm saying? I never went to rehab. I never went to, like, whatever. I just did it on my own, kept it to myself, and we just kept the shit to ourselves. Like, we weren't in and out of rehab. We didn't, you know what I mean? So, it's not that grand of a story, but it's a story nonetheless that I'm proud of, you know? Because I feel like it gave us a second chance, you know? Like, first I got clean, and then he got clean. And he worked his butt off. I worked mine off. And then we worked together. And you know want to know what's crazy? I sat down in my basement at his mom's house, because that's where we lived at that time. And I sat down in that basement, and I was so sick. And luckily my kids were elsewhere at the time. And I was just done. I was done. I was contemplating on how am I going to do this? How am I going to get clean? How am I going to not be sick again? How am I going to do this, right? Because nobody knew. Nobody knew what we were going through. They knew something was up, but they didn't know what we were going through, you know? And so at that point in time, I sat down on my little chair and I had the phone in my hand. And it was, I'm either going to call some numbers and try to figure out what the hell I can do, or kill myself in the process. And what was crazy was the phone book. Back then we had to use phone books. I don't know if anybody remembers phone books, but back then we had the yellow pages, right? And I had I went to go flip the book open. This is a crazy part, because, yeah, this is why I say they gave me a second chance, because I flipped the book open, and I was so mad at myself, because when you're like that, your body goes tense, and your body's going through withdrawal, and your muscles are tensing up, you're irritated, you're irritable, you're everything under the sun, you're on fire, you're cold, you're sweaty, you're mad at everybody, you don't know what the hell is going to happen next, you are kind of thinking about everything at once, to be honest. And so, I don't know, I threw the phone book. And when I threw the phone book, I threw it onto the floor. And when I threw it onto the floor, you guys, I'm not kidding, it flipped open, because when I threw it, it hit my, like, little TV stand. And when it hit the TV stand, the book fell forward, opened up. I'm not even joking. It opened up. You want to know what page it opened up on? Take a guess. The county page that I needed to get clean. And I'm not even joking. Because I was like, who am I going to call? I was like, I even told God, I said, listen, if you just help me. I swear to you, I will never make my life hell again. I will do right by you, my kids, everything. Like, I was begging and pleading for the first time ever in my life. And that's when that book opened, and after I threw it, and I was like, what the hell? And it was just like something told me to look down, because I was just going to leave it on the floor, you know what I mean? And something told me to look down, and I grabbed it, and sure enough, there it was. And I was like, oh, what the hell? I didn't even know it was there. Like, I didn't even know at all that it was there. I just, you know what I mean? Like, Tony was out trying to get what he could, and I'm here, and it was a lot. And what was crazy was after I picked up the book, you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but after I picked up the book, right, I sat in my little chair that I have, and when I sat in the chair, it was like, I can't even explain it. Hey, we had enough to do that. Thank God. I thought I was going to really run out and have to use that shitty shit. But, woo, I'm hot. But, after it did that, I was like, how am I supposed to do this? You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? How am I going to do this? Da, 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 da. And I shit you not, guys. It opened, and then I grabbed it. It got to the page. I freaked out. I looked down, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way that that's possible. And they were there, okay? I've never been, I was raised Catholic, but I'm not, like, denominational or anything. I believe that we are our souls, like, our soul is whatever. Anyway. And so, yeah, it was crazy, because when it opened up to that part and I realized what that part was, I freaked out, and, like, the sun, I took the book and I had it in my hand, and I was shaking really bad, right? And the sun came through the freaking basement window. I have a basement window, okay? Sun would only come through certain parts of my windows. So it was really odd. It was fucking odd. looky, I'm gonna let these dry the rest of the way, and then here's these ones. Um, and I was like, oh my freaking god, like, what? I was like, this is not happening right now. I was like, this isn't right. This isn't, no. Like, I was in such denial. But it almost scared me because I'm like, what? Like, there's no fucking way. And, as that happened and the light came on the book, something came over my body because I've always been like a clairvoyant, right? I'd have dreams. I would know things before somebody else would. Like, it's just one of them things, right? And that day, I said, fuck it, I'm done. And guess what? I did it. I went to the place. I got in. But there's a story with that because literally they turned me away and I was so sick. I was literally dying sitting in the chair. If I would have held 15 more minutes, I would have been dead. No joke. Like, I'm not joking about any of this. So the fact that intervenance happened again and they had no more room. But here I was. She was coming out like, that's okay. Just hold on, you know. And so I was like, oh my God, you know, like, please, thank God, you know. Hi, Victoria. Oh, thank you so much for all the gifts, guys. But yeah, and yeah, I went to where I never was forced to do any of this. I made my mind up and I did it. I never was forced to go to, like jail or anything like that. I was never forced to go to rehab. I was never forced to go do drug court or anything like that. I was never forced to do any of that. I did it all on my own because I wanted to give my kids a life. I didn't want to be a piece of shit. Because I knew I was a good person on the inside. I knew all I wanted to do was help people. So, yeah. And then all I did was work my ass off from there. And now we finally got our own place. And our kids are great. They're 100% healthy. And next thing, I work and work and work at. And I used to work at Honda. And I loved it there. I loved it there. And, this is what they look like, guys. 10 nails. 10 nails. I've never 10 nails before to all this. Never. Never, never, never. And so, yeah, I did it all myself. So, after that, he got clean and, we did it together. And it was a good thing I had somebody with me because I don't think people would know. Like, I really don't think people would necessarily... I think if somebody had somebody to really be there with them and really understand instead of just coming at people like, listen, you're a piece of shit, you're this. It's like, sometimes people look at people like me that fucked my life up like I'm a soulless human being that just because I did all these things, like, because I did drugs, that I'm like some whatever person, right? And trust me, I've had my fair share of people that just because they find out that you were on drugs and you fucked up your life or you messed up your life, they literally treat you different at jobs, at pharmacies, when you go get medication, hospitals, you know what I mean? It's like they didn't know how to, like, just be a normal human, right? Acrylic. It's all acrylic. Every bit of it's acrylic. I'm just waiting for it to dry. The fact that the 22 you guys are still in here, I appreciate you guys so much. Cola, Sandra, thank you guys so much for staying. I know it's a long ass. I've been on here since 5:55, so that's what, 4 hours? 3 hours? Aw, thank you, Stacy. I love you. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to my members. I love you guys. And, like, you guys talked me into 10 nails. Ah! Look at that. And I don't have a lot that I have to file. I just have to clean them up for the most part and put top coat on. However, do we want to do that, or do you guys want to do the last of it tomorrow? And then we can pick up where I left off. Hi, Taka. Taka. Because this one's still pretty wet because it's still kind of cold in here. Aw. I'm glad people understand. Can you... Taka, please don't spam. I'm just waiting for this to dry a little bit more, but yeah, I hated the fact that, like, we always got, I don't know, people never really looked at us like we were humans. You know? People never looked at us like we were humans. They always looked at us like we were just these pieces of shit that didn't give a shit about nobody. And listen, I understand, because a lot of us would actually, like, take people's money and do this and do that and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? You know? Oh, you're okay, talking. No worries, babe. I just like to make sure I explain that to people, because we don't want it to be spammy in here, if that makes sense. You poured 6 projects? Holy Nikes. That's awesome. Yeah, these are bomb. I can't wait for this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so these are still sticky. This one, because it's so freaking cold in here. This one I think is okay. A little sticky in certain places, but we might have to wait. Oh, shit, that's really sticky. Okay. We might have to wait a little bit longer, but for the most part, guys, I will leave off on my story. But if you guys, I can do this, but we're going to have to wait till they dry before I can actually do the thingamajigger bopper, you know what I mean? What time is it? 9:26? Okay. If you guys want to come back tomorrow, that way they're fully prepped. I mean, unless you guys got somewhere to be. If you got somewhere to be, that's okay too. If you want me to continue this and to continue to do it. I know hubby worked all day. I know he's ready to go to sleep, but yeah, they're still sticky. You know what I didn't do, though? Damn it. Now I got it all over my fingers. This right here is probably going to have to be coming through that, like, top part right there, because that, whatever, it's fine. It'll be alright. It's very sticky underneath, too. Ugh. But yeah, we'll come back and do, we'll come back and do this tomorrow. Are you guys gonna come back tomorrow? Because I can't wait to put these on, because I'm telling you, oh shit. Ooh, no. It got caught underneath the other one. Shit. I don't even have anything on my brush. I'm just trying to push it in. Crap. Anyway, just make sure you guys check out the process of making this set, because this was the first set. And then we made this set tonight because I ended up finding another color. So we made 2 colors. There are 2 sets with different colors. So this is a 10-piece set, which is crazy because my very first set that I've done all together on a live on my channel. I love acrylic. They're my favorite. Yes. That way they can be fully set. We will dive into filing and, like, how I file. And then we will go in and do all that, and then we'll do our top coat, and I'm going to use the Zule top coat, and then maybe we'll add some gems to it or whatever, because we're not going to have to add too much. I'm not going to have to do too much on that. Oh my gosh, thank you for listening to me ramble on. Yes, I know. Well, I'm thinking we're going to do the pink set in in the middle of the month. So in February. So, because, you know, February Wednesday, I figured, what if we did it each one for every month in the middle of the month? So we have 4 weeks in a month, right? So we have to do our first one, and then our second one will be the middle of the month. So it is therapy. That's why it's called nail therapy sesh too. I mean, I have so much more to go and, like, to say. But for the gist of it, because I haven't even got up to where I'm at right now, but I appreciate you guys, because I didn't even think anybody wanted to listen, and if I can help at least one person feel like they're not alone, and they don't have to go through it alone, and know that, like, yes, it's hard as fuck in the beginning, but you can do it, and it'll eventually, you will get there, and you have to keep that mindset the whole way, because if you don't, girl. You know, so I appreciate you guys a lot, and I poured my heart out tonight, and I don't want to cry, but it's taken almost 4 years of me being on YouTube, and I've only talked about it like a couple times, and I never went into details. So, I'll go into detail again tomorrow. We'll pick up where we left off, and I appreciate you guys so freaking much, so heartedly sitting here with me. I love you guys a lot, and man, am I grateful. I'm grateful for all of you guys. We've come a long way. Yes, rhinestones. We have come a long, long way. We just hit over 6K, which never thought in a million years that would happen, but thank you guys so much for being here and being troopers, and that's freaking everything. So, thanks for pushing me out of my box. I love you guys. Please have an amazing night. Keep your heads up if you're having a hard day. Always try to think of positive. Take something positive out of your day, even though it was a hard day, because that positivity is what's actually going to get you through the night or the day or whatever, the week, the month. But yeah, we'll see you. We'll do this tomorrow, and I'll put a poll up, and you guys can tell me what time's best for you, like what times are best for you, and then we'll go from there. Okay, but we'll definitely be live tomorrow, whether it be early in the day or late at night. Either way, I'll let you know. But I'm happy to be on this streak with you guys. So have an amazing night. Get some rest. And I'll see you on the flip side. Don't forget that you guys are one of one. And we need you in this world. So keep doing it. Keep practicing. Keep going. Don't turn back. And just freaking jump in and go. Okay? Don't be afraid to do it. If you're afraid to do it anyway. Alright? I love you guys. Sending lots of love. I love you. Thank you, Cola. Thank you, ladies. Aw. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye.